This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Very, 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 Mickey, 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 Fishy, Fishy!
You are listening to the Voices of Wrestling podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
X out and go listen to some boring podcast where they're afraid of their own shadow. Okay? Don't listen to Joe Lanza, because Joe Lanza's not changing.
And Rich Craich.
Give me a name. Who delivers this guy in a big spot?
Joe, don't yell at me.
In the big spot, who delivers better than this guy?
Stop yelling at me. I agree.
And we are live here on the Voice of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. I'm Rich Craich, alongside, as always, the King of Banter, Mr. Joe Lanza. Joe, what's happening?
Big Georgetown win today over Villanova. I'm all fired up about
your
that.
boy Big Pat, I saw him out there really having a day. This is my house. He owns MSG. They got to know who I am. That's a lot of big talk for a man that never won a title, but that's all right.
Well, I mean, who else has won a title in that building in the last?
Harry Gallatin. So,
whose building is it?
Unless you're
Mark
Bill
Messier's?
Bradley, you really can't. Yeah, unless you're Walt or
Is
Bill
it-
Bradley. Yeah, it's your.
Is it Mark Messier's building?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Have they won it more
Stephane
recently
Plateau?
than that? Is that the last time the Rangers won the Stanley Cup? 94.
Yeah, 94. Yeah.
Damn, that's it. Fuck. I assume they maybe got lucky a little bit early, sometime in the 2000s. Yeah. Wow. What a well, a lot of Big East championship. Kemba Walker, I guess, could lay claim to MSG being his house, right?
The one of our proms in high school was the same night as the deciding game of the Rangers Stanley Cup that year.
I'm guessing.
And,
I know what you did. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say,
Well, I'm not a hockey guy, but the Monday back at school, all the girls were fucking pissed because they got completely no-sold and ignored at this prom. I wasn't even there. I wasn't even at this prom, but it was like,
yeah, more people were concerned with Brian Leach than their dates, I assume. On
yeah,
that night,
yeah.
so.
I mean, you know, that whole, you know, Rangers Stanley Cup drought was such a big thing, you know, in that area of the country at that time. So, yeah, that I'll always remember, it ruining basically the prom for every girl in my high school.
You know, I'll be honest, and you know, I was kind of still a pretty young sports fan at that time, but I remember that the whether it was media creation or not or whatever it was, like everybody was rooting for the Rangers there, and nobody ever roots for New York in anything. But in like 1994, the Rangers in the Stanley Cup, and that had been a long time since like New York teams have been super. I mean, obviously you hadn't quite had the Yankees run yet. You know, they were in their little dark period at that point too. The Knicks were like fine, but obviously I was a Bulls fan in Chicago, and they kind of ripped their heart out plenty of times. So it was like, hey, this is this chance for this New York team to finally do it. And I remember like the nation kind of rallied behind the New York Rangers, even though like nobody ever rallies behind the New York teams ever.
I was rooting against them. I don't know.
Who were they against? I have no idea who they were against.
Vancouver.
You know, I did know that, actually. Yeah, that's right. Oh, the Canucks had really cool jerseys at the time, so I guess I should have been a Canucks fan, too.
This, by the way, is the extent of my hockey knowledge. It
Yeah,
doesn't extend any
there was somebody
further.
talking recently that was like, you guys should talk about hockey now that they're coming back to NHL or the ESPN. And I'm like, I think Joe and I's hockey knowledge ends at about, I would say conservatively about 1997, but probably like 1994, 95 is about when it ends.
That's about when mine ends, yeah. NHL 95 is pretty much where...
Right, I know like Pavel Bure and Brian Leach and Mark Messier and those sort of guys, but after that it gets pretty cloudy. Any newer players. I couldn't tell you much about Jerome McGinley. I know he played for the Calgary Flames, and that's about the extent of Jerome McGinley. And he's probably been retired now for 5-10 years at this point. So
I don't think I can name 5 active NHL players.
I bet you can.
Sidney Crosby.
I think. Well, the problem is I'm not sure. I think yes. Okay. I think he's still active, right? He's still active, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is the guy keeping count of those 5
isn't
active
sure
NHL
who's
players.
active anymore. He's old now, but he's still active. Yeah. Go ahead.
Ovechkin?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, it's in the Capitals, right?
Yeah.
Who's the really good kid on the Oilers?
McDavid, right? Connor McDavid.
That's a team effort. We got 3.
There we go. Nice job.
Connor McDavid, that's 3. I swear I'm tapped out.
I can cheat a little with...
Is Jaromir Jagr holding on somewhere?
I wish, but no, I think like 2 years ago he finally called it quits at like age 62 or whatever he was. So I'm sure he's played in some... He's definitely played in some like Russian league at some point for sure. I know that for a fact. He's got to be. There's no way he's done.
So Crosby, McDavid, and Ovechkin. I think that's like... Those are like the 3 freebies you would get if you were... Like everyone has to know that. Like if you're... Unless you're under a rock, you'd probably get those 3, right? So we're not even accomplishing anything here.
No, I can also help out a little bit with like, you know, local guys who are on their absolute last legs. Like
I know a lot of Blackhawks.
Yeah, I got like right? Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves and I know PK Subban as well. So there you go.
Never heard of any of them. I've never heard of any of those people. No. Okay. No, hockey is just so far off my radar.
Yeah. Like, well, and the problem too is if you watch like regular sports like on TV, like Sports Center, they never talk about hockey anymore. Like that was always the joke. Growing up, that was always the joke that they never talked about hockey. They talked a lot about hockey when I was growing up. Of course, it was only Barry Melrose. They would just like have Barry Melrose there and some, you know, stupid Syracuse grad Sports Center anchor would say, Barry, what's going on with the Lightning? And then Barry Melrose would talk for 15 minutes about the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then they go right back to, you know, talking about LeBron or Tom Brady or whatever. But they used to do that a lot. I don't even know if they do that anymore, to be honest.
No, Barry Melrose is the only hockey analyst that ESPN employs, which they're going to have to change now that they got the NHL contract back. But in the interim, since they've last had hockey, he's the only one that. And for a couple of years, they had a few others, but he's literally the only guy that they employ in the building that covers hockey on ESPN television. So you're not wrong. That's like still the case.
And like I remember the anchors would have no idea, like, because they couldn't bounce stuff off. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the anchor would sort of like have a conversation with the guy. Like they would just say team names or guys' names, and the Barry Melrose would talk about them because it's like I don't know. Like what do you want me to tell you? Ask you about the freaking Calgary Flames? You know their chances in the 2009 NHL season. Like just talk, Barry. Just go ahead.
A couple of them do. Linda Cohn knows hockey. Scott Van Pelt knows hockey. I think John Butchergrass knows hockey.
The new ones have no clue, right?
Those 3 for sure I know can intelligently talk hockey. Well, he's not ESPN, but Mike Tirico knows hockey. Yeah, as far as ESPN guys go, though, I don't know how many others. No, they better learn it though.
They're about to have it in prime time a lot. So,
yeah, I don't know if like Neil Everett from Hawaii is up on his hockey.
Or, any sort of these like the constant revolving door of like Syracuse grad, brown-haired guys or ambiguously ethnic hot women that they have on there. Like, they don't know hockey at all. So.
They don't know hockey. Yeah, no, definitely not. But they're going to have to pick it up, So that's an odd way to start the show.
It has wrestling ramifications as well because that's a big thing. That TV deal, that NHL deal, is a huge, huge deal for live sports and the future of live sports and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really curious what happens. I mean, the question that everybody after that deal got signed, that people that were know anything about sports and know anything about wrestling, we had a lot of people say, well, what does that mean for wrestling? What does it mean for AEW and WWE? And what it means is they probably cannot wait to renegotiate their television contracts because they're going to get a big bag of money to do so because the whole game has changed. I mean, right now, for whatever this is worth, and it relates to the Peacock and the WWE Network thing as well, is if these networks have now decided that these TV deals are both for cable television and broadcast television and also streaming, and they so badly want to win the streaming war, whatever the streaming war is right now, you're going to get a big bag of money to have live sports, and if live sports on these streaming things is going to be big, and it's why WWE got a big bag of money from Peacock, and the NHL got a big bag of money from ESPN, so that's not stopping anytime soon.
No, it's that's only half the deal too, so for the NHL. So there's still other bidders for the other half of the deal. That news didn't come down yet, did it?
Of where it's going to go? Yeah, no, just ESPN so far, but
just
now,
ESPN
now we're waiting kind of for that next thing.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of streaming involved in that too, though. A lot of streaming content. So, I mean, if the wrestling contracts were coming up now, that'd probably be ideal. The landscape could always change when these deals are up. But we've been talking about this bubble bursting since we've been doing this show, and it hasn't burst. So, yeah, I mean, it bodes well, for now at least, for both of the wrestling companies for their next deals, if the NHL is getting a deal like this. I mean, NHL does comparable ratings to AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty much. Not Stanley Cup playoffs, but, your run-of-the-mill regular season games. Now, AEW, actually, they pretty much they beat regular season NHL. Like season openers and playoff games, that's a better comp for basically what AEW does, just to get an idea. But again, AEW is just one or soon to be 2 shows, 3 total hours a week, whereas the NHL, I don't know how many. ESPN's only getting 25 games.
Yeah, that's why I said this is a very interesting deal from that sense. And I think a lot of people read that and think, okay, great, now ESPN's going to show primetime hockey. And it's like, yeah, they're going to be a little bit. There will be a little bit there.
Basically.
But
game a week.
You're right. It's a game a week. And then a lot of it is we want you to have a lot of games on ESPN Plus. That's the big, and that is a total game changer there, because we have now entered completely new territory where a network is going to pay a sports property, a live sports property, and say, hey, we're going to put your shit behind our streaming service. Like that would be unheard of 5 years ago for that to happen. You know what I mean? Like that just wasn't what was happening. And we talked about it again with the WWE Network is, 5 years ago it was, no, do your own thing. So the NHL has their own app, and the MLB has their own app, and NBA has their own app, and all these other things had their own app, and they were going to cut out the middleman and yada, 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 and all that sort of stuff. Well, now you have the TV network saying, okay, well, no, now we're going full bowl into this streaming service. We are going to go as ESPN Plus. We're going to team it with Disney Plus and all this sort of stuff, and Peacock obviously, and then Turner has their properties, but they're not in, I guess, as much of a situation right now as like ESPN and NBC and all these ones are. But yeah, we've entered completely new territory where now the networks are paying to have the ability to be the exclusive streaming home of some of these shows or whatnot, and that's big. That is a big turnaround for live sports. And if that and right now the money's getting thrown around for that. The money's getting thrown around to get people onto these streaming services. So yeah, we're definitely in uncharted territory for sure.
Yeah, it's with only 25 games a season. I mean, it's all they're paying for the streaming and obviously the playoffs and the finals, which is lucrative,
right?
But yeah, it's all these whenever there's a new deal. The NFL is re-upping all of their deals right now. So I know that's a completely different animal, but where that could affect things is some of these networks invest so much in the NFL that eats up the whole budget, and the networks that might get left out in the cold when it comes to the NFL all of a sudden have a ton of budget available to spend on other things. So that's why it's relevant to pay attention to what happens with these NFL deals too. And there's a lot of talk that the Thursday Night Football package could end up on Amazon streaming exclusively. I know Amazon streams the Thursday night package now, but it's a simulcast. You also get it on TV. But the talk is that it would go exclusively, and that would be unprecedented for an NFL package to go exclusively on a stream. So that's definitely something to keep your eyes on also. I don't know if a wrestling company, a big-time wrestling company, would roll the dice and go exclusively on a stream. I mean, I guess if the money was right, because that's, as we talk about all the time, it's just, the key revenue now are those rights fees. But my brain is just so wired to pay-per-view and tickets that my initial instinct to that idea is, well, then how are you going to sell your pay-per-views and sell tickets if you're on a stream and limiting your audience? But that's where all the revenue is now, the rights fees. So it wouldn't matter.
Right. And these networks are gambling that will not be, reducing your audience, that they can finally get people away from just watching their TVs and instead going and streaming stuff. Because at the end of the day, and people, the dumbest thing you ever hear in any ratings discussion is, well, do they count the streams? And we've been straight up told from multiple people, the streams are completely irrelevant. Do not worry about the streams. It doesn't matter. Yes, they occur. Yes, we rate them. Yes, they're in Nielsen, yada, yada, yada. But trust us, it's all about about getting people to sit on their couch and turn on TNT or whatever and watch it on their TV. Well, what's going on now is these networks are gambling and saying, no, we are going to finally go and try like hell to make sure that an NHL fan doesn't just say, oh, well, they got a game a week on ESPN, and instead goes, well, let's see what's on ESPN Plus, and let me log in at ESPN Plus and see what's on there. Or, for WWE, let me log on to Peacock and see what's going on there. So that is the gamble they're taking. Whether that's going to work or not, I have no idea. But if that's where the money's at, you got to go there. So yeah, if someone comes with a big bag of cash to, AEW and says, hey, I want you guys off Turner and only on our streaming service, you're right. That could be, something that is a short term, well, fuck, we can't turn down this money. But what is the long term of that? Do we know if that's going to actually work or not? And we don't. Everyone's gambling right now that this is the next wave, that everyone's just going to officially make the move to streaming services and terrestrial or normal cable television or whatever television that's not going to matter as much anymore. And I don't know. I mean, we're dealing with it a lot in baseball as well. I know, obviously, you being a huge baseball fan, and this, like, a lot of radio stations are just like not carrying teams anymore, and a lot of teams are not going on the radio anymore. They're just saying, we're going to stream it on our website, and it's getting a lot of blowback from people that are like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, I'm not going to your website. Yeah. Like, I want to be in my, just walk around. I love baseball on the radio. It's one of my favorite things to do is in the summer, just put on the radio and sit outside or work around the yard or do whatever. Or, even if I'm around my house, even if I'm like playing video games or watching something else, I love baseball on the radio. Baseball on the radio rules. But yeah, a lot of these teams are basically just trying to jump ahead and say, yeah, you don't really care about radio, so we're just going to put it on our website. And it's like, there's been a lot of blowback. I forget who it was, but one of the Oakland, maybe, I want to say either Oakland or Toronto, was basically going to not show stuff on the radio, and then there was so much outcry that they finally were able to re-up with some radio station and get the games on there, because they're just sort of trying to go past that. And I think you see that a lot with the TV networks too, just saying, we'll just go to our streaming service, it's all on there. And I don't know if that's going to work yet. We don't know.
Well, if you listen to Twitter or people who call in sports talk shows, you would think that nobody under 40, has a cable package anymore. Everyone swears that they've cut the cord. They swear that every single person they know has cut the cord. But then when you see the facts and the real data for a major sporting event, and it's like 3% of the viewers streamed, it never adds up to, the reality is never the perception. You see, all of these people who reply to Meltzer on Twitter, and they're like, television ratings, everyone I know has cut the cord. That's
right.
Nobody cares. And it's like, well,
who cares about their bad ratings? People are streaming it instead. It's like, they're not.
Okay, number one, first of all, the television ratings will continue to matter when you're getting billion-dollar deals based on the television ratings. That's number one. Don't be stupid. Okay, it just shows how. Number two, the facts never line up with that. Major sporting events, it's always like under 5% or around 5% of the people who are watching via streams. People are still watching TV. And it's just, there is a lot of jumping of the gun in that regard. I mean, we straight up asked the people in AEW how many people are watching on the TNT app. And the response we got was that the number is so insignificant that they don't even bother tracking it anymore.
Right.
They tracked it in the first few weeks. And then they were like, why are we wasting our time? This number is irrelevant. It's completely insignificant. Yet, if you go on Twitter, everybody swears that they've cut the cord 10 years ago. I haven't paid for cable in a decade. Nobody I know watches TV. Everybody's streaming. No person under 30. It's not true. I don't know why it's almost like people always relate their own situation and assume that that's everybody else. I think that might be what it is. Or it's just a lie that has been so constantly repeated that it has now just become fact in a lot of people's heads. It's like, just because you cut the cord doesn't mean that everyone in your situation has also cut the cord. It's just the facts never line up with that. And the reason we asked AEW is because I think we saw the Super Bowl streaming number. What was it? I don't remember, so someone could tell me I'm wrong, that's fine. But I think it was like 5% of the audience watched the Super Bowl or whatever it was via a stream. And I asked if that lined up with their data, and they were like, we don't know. We don't track that shit anymore.
Right.
Because it's irrelevant. Like no one was watching on the app, so we stopped paying attention. And the app is factored into Nielsen anyway. But in terms of knowing the split, it's so insignificant that they don't even care. So, the whole streaming thing, they're all trying to get ahead, but we're not there yet. And that's why something like Peacock lost $1 billion. What'd they lose? 900?
Just under $1 billion. Yeah, 955 million, I think it was, or somewhere around there. But yeah, just under $1 billion.
Yeah, they lost $1 billion last year. So, these are all these streaming services realize that they're going to be running in the red for years, for a half decade. They're budgeted for that. They're all banking on, and this is why we're in sort of the second stage of the streaming wars, and, it's all going to get whittled down, and a lot of them are going to throw in the towel like WWE Network did, but a lot of the big boys are going to start throwing in the towel and merging. I think that's going to be the next stage. That's going to be stage 3 in this, where we're going to see all of the mergers take place, where let's say, and I'm just throwing some out there, say maybe Hulu decides, we're getting our ass kicked, or Peacock says we're never going to make our initial investments back, and then they start looking for merges and approaching it that way. And what we're going to end up with is probably 2 or 3 giant streaming services that control everything. Someone might play this audio back in 5 years, and I might look foolish, but that's my projection of what's coming down the line. It's just too fractured right now.
It's unsustainable. Yeah, there's no way that you can subscribe to 9 different, things that all, especially when now, like you're saying, because, we're getting rid of the over the top stuff, and now it's just these conglomerates of apps. But even then, of the conglomerates of the apps, there's like 7 of those conglomerates as well, and it's just like, yeah, that's not it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to be an HBO Max, a Disney Plus, an ESPN Plus, a Paramount Plus, a Disney Plus, or a Discovery Plus. Like, you're not gonna be a subscriber of all those things. It's just not gonna happen. So
no, and I think at some point down the line, everything could eventually move to streaming. I just think we're further than people think. I do. I mean, and because we're now working on the second or maybe even third generation of people where we're saying they don't watch TV anymore.
Right. Cable is dying. Cable's been dying for 25 years now, I think.
Well, we've heard that about Gen X people. We heard that about millennials. Now we're hearing it about Gen Z. And maybe finally, maybe one of these generations is going to end up being true, and they don't watch TV anymore. Maybe that's going to end up being the case. Maybe the 4 and the 5-year-old in my house they don't watch TV now. They stream everything. And maybe they'll just never watch TV. They don't watch TV because the commercials confuse them. They don't understand. Like, they cry. Like, if I put Nickelodeon on, like, the Nickelodeon channel, not the app, and the commercials come on, they try to get the remote and fast forward.
Yeah, they think that something happened or something went wrong, or it's not
or
right.
They think they can skip it, like on YouTube. Like, they watch YouTube on their own, and when the ad counter goes down, they know how to skip it. And they compulsively pick up the remote to skip commercials when they have the TV on. And I'm like, you can't do that. And then they cry.
But I want to. Yeah, I want to be in control.
I don't want to watch a commercial. I'm like, you have to. This is what TV is. This is not or they think it's the DVR, and they hit the fast forward and it doesn't do anything. And they complain to me. And I'm like, no, you're watching TV. You can't fast forward.
Right. You got to watch these ads, and then you got to tell your dad that you want to buy this cereal that they're advertising to you. That's the way it goes. So come on.
Yeah. So
watch
maybe
the cereal
like
commercial,
that.
And then run up and say, "I want Frosted Flakes," and then we get to buy Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, they have no concept, and a lot of the apps we don't have the commercials on them at all. So that's all they know. So maybe that generation will be the one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be one at some point, but we've been told this for 3 generations now. And then every time we look at streaming numbers, it's like an insignificant figure. I guess they're slightly more significant now, but they're still not anything approaching what you would think. If you ask some common dope on Twitter, hey, what percentage of people that are 30 are streaming versus cable? They'd probably tell you some ridiculous number, like 70% or something, and it's not the case. It just isn't the case. Now, the percentage certainly grows the younger you get. I'm not denying that. I'm not a streaming denier. I'm just saying it's not where people think it is yet. And all of these corporations are just they understand this is the long play. But I think some of them might think it's coming a little sooner than they think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and UFC being in a really interesting case as well is that them basically putting all of their major. They obviously kept their major stuff for pay-per-view. Which that pay-per-view has been dying for 40 years, basically. The pay-per-view never, it was never going to exist. It was never going to work. Then it worked for like 5 years, and then it was going to die. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's ever liked pay-per-view, and though pay-per-view has been super lucrative to a lot of different people. But yeah, UFC being a very interesting case because a lot of the fights obviously going on ESPN Plus. But and what's really I think going to determine it, we'll see. Later on, and we'll see how things go. But like. I don't subscribe to ESPN Plus for the UFC. Like, I don't really give a shit about UFC, obviously. But for everything I hear from anybody who watches stuff on ESPN Plus is that it's a disaster. It never fucking works. It's hard. It logs you out all the time. It doesn't play right. And especially during live UFC shows when a bunch of people go on there, it just doesn't. The infrastructure's just not there. And I think that is always going to be, to me, the limiting factor. That's and we've talked about this before. Like, if it's up to me, I'd rather just sit on my damn couch, hit 2 buttons, and AEW Revolution pops up on my TV, and I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't have to search around. I don't have to refresh. I don't have to reset my router. I don't have to put the quality down. I just sit on my fucking couch. It's HD. I pay $50, and it just starts. You know what I mean? That's it. It's just like that. And for me, that ease is always, I have the financial ability to just do that and just say, fuck it. I don't care. I want the reliability, but that's always going to be a limiting factor. I mean, I'm very, very curious how Peacock handles, this wave of people that are going to come in for a WrestleMania. I mean, Peacock doesn't do live stuff, and Peacock is only built on like a kind of on-demand infrastructure where, there's probably 5,000 people watching this random episode of King of Queens one night, but what are you going to do when 500,000 people jump on and all start trying to watch WrestleMania at the same time? Like, can it handle that? I'd imagine they're ready for it, but I mean, WWE Network wasn't ready for it. I'm covering it on the the arrival on patreon.com/voices of wrestling. Is that during that initial NXT arrival show, the network was having tons of issues because it wasn't ready to have a bunch of people sign on all at once, and it was a bad first impression for the network. So I don't know.
I mean, if I have my choice, I'd rather watch something on TV. It's just easier. I don't want to have to, like, if this NFL package goes to Amazon, I don't want to have to switch over my input to my Fire Stick and then load up the Amazon app and I know that sounds incredibly lazy and the most first world problem.
Goddamn right it is. But yes.
But I would much rather just press 206 on my DirecTV remote and put on ESPN and sit there and watch the game. It's less of a hassle, and cable and satellite is far more reliable than the internet is. I mean, we all have seen the buffering pinwheel a million times. It's just and like you're talking, the issues I'm sure Peacock will have early on. So I think that's a big reason too. I mean, I could probably stream everything that I would need to see if I really wanted to and wanted to spend the money. It would be more expensive, by the way, which is another problem with
Of course, yeah. And don't think that your internet providers aren't aware that everyone's going to streaming and doing all that sort of stuff. Right. I mean, Xfinity already this year, my service has already started a thing where they're capping everybody. You get X amount per month, and then after that, it's, we'll give you extra internet. Oh, you need a little bit more gigs? That's fine. It's, $5 now and $6, where before, do whatever you want, all day, every day, stream, yeah, do all that sort of stuff. Now it's all streamed to, like, this level, and then we're going to charge you a little bit more once you go over that level. Don't think that the internet providers are just going to continue to give you as much internet as you want. Like, that's going to end pretty soon too. Yeah,
but I mean, I'd much rather just turn on ESPN than go to the ESPN app to watch the college basketball game I want to watch. It's just, it's more, and I'm in a position where I could afford it and all that. I mean, obviously, it's different if money is always going to be a factor and a different kind of factor for everybody. But, I do think, I would anticipate problems on Peacock for WrestleMania. I mean, I fully expect it, and WWE Network has been pretty seamless since that first couple of months. I haven't had any problems with WWE Network in like 5-6 years.
Yeah, really. I remember being really nervous about WrestleMania because obviously the Arrival came and that was kind of an issue. And then it was like, all right, time for WrestleMania. And I remember being like, oh boy, this is not going to go well. And I remember it being fine. Like I had absolutely no issue with WrestleMania and I don't think I've had much. I mean, there's little like UI issues that I have with the network and some different things. A problem. But yeah, the live stream has almost always worked perfectly fine for me.
I can't recall the last live stream issue I had. And I think a lot of people who have live stream issues, they don't want to admit it, but it's their internet.
Right.
No one ever wants to admit it's their internet.
Yeah, they always have perfect internet, and it's always the provider's fault, not them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I see people every WWE pay-per-view or takeover or whatever complaining about fucking WWE, and I'm like, it's working fine for me. It's got to be your internet, buddy, because I haven't had an issue in years. I really can't remember the last time I had a big issue with that. It's your internet speed, or you need to reset your fucking router. Or look, I know when I want to watch something, when it comes time for Wrestle Kingdom or WrestleMania or some kind of big event that I know I'm going to be streaming, the first thing I do is reset all my shit.
Oh, it all goes down. Yeah, it all gets shut down and turned back on right before the show. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and make sure, because I don't want to deal with it because I know I'm going to get aggravated if I have to do it once it already started. So it's usually the user, not the machine in a lot of these cases. Or it's out of your hands and you just, sometimes fucking internet's not super reliable.
No, and that's another thing as well, is that a lot of the people making these decisions live in, areas that have vast amounts of internet and really good, but like, a lot of people forget that like there's people out there in parts of, especially of this country, and America is not as far ahead in internet as you would think we would be compared to some other countries. Like there's a lot of places in this country where the internet is not good and still not very good for streaming stuff, for having that sort of unlimited speeds and all that sort of, we do not have the infrastructure for that. So yeah, if all these networks are going to say, hey, fuck TV, we're going straight to streaming, like you got to be aware that, yeah, there might be people in Nebraska that, don't, and I'm just throwing out a random state there. I have no idea about Nebraska's internet infrastructure, but having been in Nebraska, I could see it not being great. But, there are parts of this country that just do not get good internet speeds. And yeah, it's, are they ready for that? Are they ready for cutting those people completely out of the market if they just say, hey, fuck TV, go on their streaming service to do it? And I don't know. That is, again, another big thing that I think a lot of people are going to have to, realize that, get out of San Francisco, get out of New York, get out of Chicago, get out of, the big cities and go around and realize that the internet is not, the same that it is in those cities that it is in rural parts of this country.
Yeah. Yeah. And then even when you have high-speed internet, sometimes it isn't always reliable, and there's outages.
This fucking show, I pay for the highest quality internet I have, and we had those 3 weeks in the middle of the fucking pandemic where I couldn't stream this thing for some reason. No idea why. The guy came and touched 2 buttons, and all of a sudden now I'm good again. But it's like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Costing me money. God damn it. Got $10 subscribers here.
That's right.
You jerks. Anyway, well, that was Joe and Rich talk about the media world. I don't know what we started talking about. Hockey. How do we even start talking about hockey in the first? Oh, you talked about big old Pat Ewing getting the.
Well, speaking of which, Stefan Matteau, who, I realized I got my story wrong. It wasn't the Stanley Cup final the night of the prom. It was actually worse. It was the Rangers and the Devils in the Eastern Conference final.
Oh, God. You know what? That's a war, though. That's pretty. That was, battle lines were drawn then. Yeah, okay.
That's why it was even worse, because you had everyone in the school was either a Ranger or a Devil fan. I mean, Islander fans don't exist unless you live on Long Island. They're like the redheaded stepchild of the three. So, and that was the Matteau goal, the Stefan Matteau goal, because I googled Stefan Matteau, and apparently his son is in the NHL now. Uh-oh. and was born in 1994, the year Stefan Matteau scored the game-winning goal to put the Rangers into the Stanley Cup final, which is just a real mind fuck, because I had no idea that he had a kid that was already playing professional hockey. So I guess that's my number. Now I've now named 4 hockey players.
There you go. Yes, the son of
Stefan Matteau.
Is his name also Stefan Matteau?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm looking at this right now, and yeah, he's apparently born in Chicago. So there you go.
Well, I guess Matteau played for the Blackhawks at some point.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. Hell if I know. But
think about he's a Columbus Blue Jacket, it appears. So good for him.
The reality is, I named 2 players. You named one, and I googled another by accident.
I got three on my own. And I helped out with Connor McDavid too. I'm not, you only get half credit for the Connor McDavid because you said he was the good guy on the Oilers.
The reality is I was only able to name two because you named Connor McDavid, and I accidentally Googled the fourth guy, trying to Google his father who played 25 years ago.
Right. And so yeah, the only two guys of current vintage or current you were able to name are like two Hall of Fame level players that are now in the twilight of their career in Crosby and Ovechkin. So there you go. Well,
how about Patrick Waugh?
I don't believe Patrick Waugh is. I think he's like the GM or something now these days. He's doing something. Maybe he's a coach or something. Yeah, I don't think James Vander. What was the Panthers goalie? Not James Vander.
John Van Beesbrook.
Yeah, that's right. Not James Vander.
John Van Beesbrook. He was a Ranger too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. What about Grant Fuhr?
I don't really remember Grant Fuhr that much.
He's probably like 60. He was the Oilers goalie when Gretzky and Messier were there.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
That's like, yeah, you're really taking it back. But this is my era. Tom Barrasso. I could tell you all about Tom Barrasso or
Paul Coffey. Oh, I can actually. Now that I think about it, I got Paul Coffey. I got Stevie Yzerman. I got you. I got you locked and loaded for 94, 95, 96, that era. So
fuck yeah.
All video games, 100% video games. But that parlayed me into becoming a huge hockey fan at that time. I fucking loved hockey because of those games.
Yeah, Pavel Bure.
I already mentioned Pavel Bure earlier.
Oh, you did?
Because you mentioned the Vancouver Canucks, and he was the only Canuck I could think of that at the time. Dominik Hasek.
We're naming guys that are literally all 60 years old.
I know.
Dominik Hasek, yeah. Grant Belfour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Eddie Belfour, right?
Ed Belfour.
Grant Belfour. He was a pitcher. He was a bullpenner. Yeah, bullpen guy. Yeah, I remember when I discovered that there was a pitcher whose last name was Balfour. That was So we saw. I remember that. I remember him vividly because we discovered him while I was playing MVP baseball, 2005. Still the greatest baseball game ever created, and we discovered a sort of a thing in the game that you would want to do. So if you played the franchise mode, Jared, you played a little bit of MVP back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you ever do like the season mode or the owner mode or whatever the hell it was?
Possibly. I don't really recall.
You may have. Well, essentially, like you start out at like a minor league ballpark with whatever team you had, and then you had to get money every single year, and then if you were in the green, then you could add to your ballpark and add different stands, and then you could sell more tickets, and then you could buy concession stands and all that sort of stuff. So you may make more money if you make a few money, make some dollars those first few years, then you can upgrade the park, and then you're ready to get going here. So we discovered that it wasn't the worst idea to lose on purpose to get an extra Game 7 of the World Series, so you could sell that bad boy out. Yeah. So we acquired Grant Balfour on our team, and then all he would do is just walk everybody, and so we'd play the game and see, if we lost, it's whatever, but if we were in like the 8th inning and we're up like 12-1 or whatever, we'd be like, all right, time for Balfour, and he'd come in and he'd walk everybody, and then they'd leave the game, and it was 15-12 or whatever, and we're like, oh fuck, way to go, Balfour. His ERA was like infinite, and yeah, it was rough times for Grant Balfour. So
little Grant Belfour anecdote.
Yeah, where else? What other wrestling podcast will you hear Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragongate, John Laurinaitis, and Grant Balfour in the same? You're not going to find it. You're just not going to find it. So.
Martin Brodeur, right? Martin
Brodeur. Yeah.
Was he like the greatest goalie of all time?
Maybe.
Devils, right?
Sure.
Not a big Martin Brodeur guy.
I don't think I am. Is he considered the greatest goalie of all time?
I mean, when the Devils won all those cups, he was the goalie, I think.
Okay.
I'm probably screwing his name up too.
No, Martin Brodeur, I think you got it right. Yeah, I don't know. Is Patrick Waugh considered the best?
Well, didn't Patrick Waugh invent like the butterfly stance?
I think he did. I believe he did. Yeah.
Right? Didn't he invent that? Maybe I know more about hockey than I think.
I was going to say, I think you do. But unfortunately, it ends in 1996. So
it's all from the same 5-year period.
Right.
Nothing before, nothing after.
The only period that matters anyway. So.
Well, I mean, for so many years, there were like 5 teams. So, the Canadians have all these titles. But
yeah, 13 straight titles.
There's like 5 other teams in the league. You know what I mean? It's like playing wiffle ball in your neighborhood, and, you're the best player. Yeah, that's what the Canadians were for all those years. Now we're just shitting on hockey.
Yeah, now you're
too.
just shitting on the Montreal Canadiens, so I'm not going to be a part of that. So.
Yeah.
What I do love about that is that despite only having like 6 teams, like the Blackhawks won like 2 Stanley Cups. Anytime I go to the United Center to watch like a Bulls game or whatever, I always look up there and I'm like, these motherfuckers. Like there was like 4 teams in the league, and these assholes won like 2 titles in like 3 decades. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The Maple Leafs have like 12 titles. The freaking Canadians have 15, and it's like the Blackhawks. We got 2. That's pretty cool. The Red Wings have like 9 or 10 from that era, and the fucking Blackhawks. 1961, we won. Cool. Oh, thanks, guys.
Playing on literal frozen ponds.
Right. Wearing actual sweaters.
Yeah, wearing literal sweaters. Yeah. What a bizarre sport.
It's very strange. Yeah. Never played it. That's another thing too, where people are like, "Oh, do you like hockey?" And I'm like, "Not really. I mean, like, I never played hockey ever. I never went out to the ponds, Joe, and put on my skates. Like, just like you are in all types of weather. That's how I am in the winter. It's like I'm not. The second I have to sit in the cold and sit on a cold bench and take my shoe off to put a skate on, I'm done. I'm already done with this. I'm good.
Forget skating. I would never learn how to skate. I have no interest.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
But my neighborhood did go through a street hockey phase.
Oh, like 1993 to 1995 was probably a heavy street hockey phase. Yeah, I did that as well. So
yeah, so you'd have, but the thing is, like, we owned a net, and there was some other kid in the neighborhood who owned a net. So if we both weren't home, you couldn't play street hockey because then one side wouldn't have a net. You see what I mean? Both of the kids that owned the net had to be home. Otherwise, one team's not shooting at the net. The other team's shooting it. You got to set up like 2 rocks on the side of the curb. All right, that's your goal. But nobody wants to shoot at the curb with the rocks. You want to shoot at
and
the
all
net.
it's going to cause is contested. There'll just be arguments aplenty about that went in, or the net. Is it in the back of the net? It went in. Like,
yeah, a lot of arguments. Oh, that would have hit the pipe. Like, how do you know? What do you got? Laser eyes? You don't know. That's a goal. So it just wouldn't work unless the 2 kids in the neighborhood who owned the net were home. Which always begs the question, why didn't someone just buy 2 nets? Well, you see, you can't talk your parents into buying 2 nets.
God, no. Yeah.
You're lucky you had 1 net. We were lucky enough that we talked our parents into giving us 1 net. So the other kid, if Jeffrey Sorrentino wasn't home down the street with the other net, we're not playing a legal game. Someone's shooting at not a net. And then you had these wise asses that would try to play on their rollerblades.
I was going to say, are you a rollerblade guy, or you're just out there with your shoes? You're just running around.
No.
Right?
I'm a sneaker guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't strike me as a rollerblade guy at any point in the era of the life of Joe Lanza. I cannot imagine you sitting on a curb and putting your inline skates on so you could go play hockey. I don't envision that.
And nobody wants a rollerblade guy on their team because he's a weakness. He doesn't have the same body control. He's skating all over the place. He's no good. You want guys that are playing in sneakers because they got better body control. And you can knock rollerblade guy on his ass, like with minimal effort. So I don't know we did have a street hockey phase for a while in our neighborhood, but never like on the ice. I mean, come on. I want nothing to do with ice in any way, shape,
it's
or form.
terrible. I did it a few times and it's awful. And now the town I live in now, they will go and there's this park and they'll fill half this park with ice, and like all winter there's just people playing hockey. Like there's 1,000 people there playing hockey no matter what. And I'm just like, well, where do I live? Like why does this occur in this town? Like, where do I in fucking Alberta, Canada? Like, what the hell's going on here? Fucking Saskatchewan or something? Like, it felt like you go there, like if I went there right, obviously not right now, it's been taken down, but like if I go there at 7:30 on like a weekday, lights are on, and there's like more people there than at a Blackhawks game. It's fucking ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Yeah. What's going on there? And I have people that I know that play, and they're like, "Oh, you should come play." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna play hockey. Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
I'm already sore thinking about skating. I already can feel my knee hurting, and no, I'm not putting skates on and going in the cold. I'm gonna sit in my house, and maybe I'll play NHL 95 if I think about it. So.
No, skating sounds like an awful activity.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's
not fun. I know how to do it, and it's terrible. It's so stupid.
What am I, Brian Boitano? I'm not getting out there on the skates. What do I look like? Out there with Christy Yamaguchi? No thanks. I'm not even doing any skating. Those are pretty too obscure figures.
I mean, I knew exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm of your era, and those are the heavy hitters of that era for sure.
Yeah, Boitano, you think so?
Yeah. Christy Yamaguchi especially. I mean, that was, everybody was big on the Kerrigan and the Harding or whatever. I was always Christy Yamaguchi. She was amazing skater back in the day. I think.
You just wanted to bang her.
Probably. That's probably where it begins. My my love affair of a certain type of women. But yeah, she was just a babe.
I don't remember what she looked like, so I don't know. I just know the name.
She was a little toothy, but that's all right.
A little toothy.
If you look at her, you'll see.
I thought Nancy Kerrigan was toothy.
Christy Yamaguchi's got a toothy too.
Kerrigan's got those big teeth that look like chiclets. Right?
Look up Christy Yamaguchi. I'm telling you. I mean, it's fine. I don't really care. It's just just pointing it out.
Let me look up Yamaguchi. Christy Yamaguchi. She's a bronze medalist, I think. I don't think she won. She's not that toothy. Come on.
I said I'm fine with it. I said I don't care. I'm just,
I don't think she won the gold, right? Didn't she?
I'll be honest. My knowledge of gold medal figure skaters is
she's very toothy. She's very toothy.
I told you, but it's fine. I mean, I don't care, but it's pretty bad.
No, she did win the gold in fucking Albertville. You want to try a year on that one? I bet you don't know.
Albertville. Okay, so 88 was Lilyhammer, right? No. When was the
Calgary?
Oh man.
92. I wouldn't get it if I wasn't looking at it.
I have no.
92. Albertville was 92.
1992. Okay. All right. There you go.
She apparently won the gold.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. And the ladies single. It was let's see, Yamaguchi, Midori Ito of Japan, and Kerrigan won the bronze. That was the time.
Do you have any hot takes on that Ito, or?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Let me pull her up.
Is she an idol? Is she an anti-idol as well?
I'm not into it. Yeah, we should have known that because that's the Kerrigan Harding year. Well, maybe it's not.
No, it's not. See, it's not. They were
there twice.
Yeah, there was a weird year. I think they were 1994 for some reason. Why there was another Olympic game in 1994? I can tell you why. I have no idea. Please tell me.
I'm going to tell you why. Because it used to be every 4 years would be the Winter and Summer Olympics. Then they changed it to alternating. So every 2 years was an Olympic game, but every 4 years was still Winter and Summer. So one of them had to go on 2 years just to get that. Okay, I'm not explaining.
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, maybe explain it a little bit better.
In 92, they decided we're still going to do the Olympics every 4 years, but we're going to alternate winter and summer. Okay, instead of doing winter and summer in the same year every year. So they did a winter games 2 years later to get that on schedule. So then the summer games were still 4 years apart, but you had those two winter games that were only 2 years apart.
Got it. Okay, because I know vividly that 94 is Lilyhammer. So yeah, so 92 and 94 both.
So 94 was that I believe was the Harding. Now I have to know. I think that was the Harding because I think they went to two because Harding finished she finished fourth in 92, but I remember her in the Olympics with the knee bashing incident. Didn't she finish like eighth or something?
Something like
terrible.
that. Yeah, she did not do well, but yeah, that's 94 for sure. Is
94? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Remember Jeff Gillooly, the husband?
Of course I remember Jeff Gillooly.
How can you forget Jeff Gillooly?
She's an incredible character in history. What a saga that entire thing was. Unbelievable. 94. No, what a great year 94 was. There was so much stuff. You got OJ. None of it was good. A lot of it was bad, but God, it was an exciting year for weird controversies.
Yeah, she finished eighth in 94.
Yeah, she stunk. So Gillooly did it. Gillooly did it. Yeah.
No. Gillooly attacked Kerrigan.
No, I know. I'm saying he did it. He didn't allow Kerrigan to, or did she still win the gold then that year?
No, I think Kerrigan won the silver in 94. And hold on, let me pull that up. 94. 94. That'd be a better way to.
I unfortunately am not a better resource for telling you about
figure skating. Let's see what we get here. 1994.
I can't believe they did the Olympics on the same year. That's a lot. I like it this way. I always grew up thinking it was this way, that it was split up. I can't believe they did it in the same year. That's that's Olympic burnout for sure. That's too much. That's too much Olympics.
Why is the men's who cares
about men's figure skating ever? Yeah, get out of here.
But this is what I'm getting here. Okay, ladies.
Yeah. Who's ever looked up men's figure skating gold medal? Nobody gives two shits.
Of
but
course it was Oksana Bayul.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That's another great figure in that entire thing is, her.
Yeah.
Just kind of staring these American trash bags down. You know what I mean?
And Toothy Kerrigan won the silver, and Chen Lu. I don't remember her. She won the bronze.
Either, yeah.
You know who finished 7th? Katarina Witt.
Oh,
you know Katarina Witt.
Yeah. We've had a discussion about Katarina Witt on this show. Somehow we've talked about way more women's figure skating than you probably would have thought if you just jumped onto this show.
I feel like we've had this conversation. It doesn't feel like a conversation that way. Now the men. Oh, okay. I don't know the gold medal winner, but I know the silver medal winner that year, Elvis Stoico of Canada.
I don't know anything about Elvis Stoico.
I remember Elvis Stoico. Yeah, for sure. Kurt Browning finished 5th. I know him too. And aforementioned Brian Boitano, 6th place.
There you go.
Top American finish for Boitano, who was my reference. My go-to reference was the 6th place finisher in the '94 Olympics.
Well, he was able to parlay that into a pretty good career of like skate dancing, right? Because that's where I remember him from. I think is.
There's no male skate dancing. That's the ladies do the ice dancing.
No, but he would. If I remember correctly, he would parlay his skating into I remember seeing him on TV doing some dumb shit.
He became an entertaining.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he would do
not a competitive guy.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't. No. He wasn't dancing in competition. But I remember. Yeah, insert musical here. He's doing fucking Cats on Ice and bullshit like that. You know what I mean? I think I remember him on that. But
he might be. Is he a broadcaster too, or maybe not? I don't know.
That I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I watch zero figure skating these days. So that's. But this is what I say. When TV, when TV was great, everybody watched the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all just fucking watched women's figure skating because that's what was on.
Yeah, we watched Elvis Stoico go for the gold.
That's what my parents were watching, and that's what I watched because that's what was on the TV. And we all just watched the same thing. Now, everybody watches their own different shit, and it sucks. It was way better when we all just watched the same stuff. So.
Stoico for the 2nd in '88 too.
There you go. Nice.
Man, that was Michelle Kwan finished 2nd.
Ah, Michelle Kwan. Yeah.
Tara Lipinski took home the gold that year. I remember all these names now. Hey, that Chen Lu won the bronze that year too. 2-time bronze winner Chen Lu of China.
It's not bad. I
wonder what she's up to these days. Chen Lu. I don't really care, honestly.
I was gonna say. I mean, I can look it up if you want, but I don't really.
She's got a nice little portrait there, Chen Lu. What are we doing?
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no clue what we've done here on the show.
Yeah, because we don't have any topics. We're just
when we're a little low on topics. Yeah, you end up doing this, but we do have some stuff to get to. We'll start off with this one right here. AEW Revolution. Obviously, we covered it match by match on the instant reaction on this $10 tier, patreon.com/voices of wrestling. AEW Revolution instant reaction there. That is where we'll do immediately following the show. We did match by match, gave our ratings, did all that sort of stuff, covered it in detail. We're not going to do that here. We mentioned it. We're not going to go through match by match. We're just not going to. We don't want to. We did it on $10. We did it on Sunday. Go listen to that. But I did want to ask you, Joe, now that we're a few days away, we've had a Dynamite, we've had a few days to kind of, process everything. The big question coming out of that instant reaction, the big question coming out of Revolution was, how does AEW handle the dud fireworks after the main event, after the barbed wire exploding death match? Eddie Kingston covers up Jon Moxley. It's a great heartfelt story. The countdown is going 5, 4, 3. People are all over the place, jumping back to watch in front of their TV to see Eddie Kingston just get blown to smithereens as he's covering off his friend Jon Moxley. And then, as you said, 4 4th of July sparklers go off, 2 little pop rockets go off on the outside, and then that's it. And it's just like, ew, boy. So we, as we were doing the instant reaction, they were kind of fielding questions on the post show. I know Tony Khan was talking about stuff. We were wondering what they were going to do, what kind of the official word was going to be out of the company, and how they're going to handle it. What do you think of how they have handled it so far? Because they've kind of stuck with what Tony Khan was saying on the post show when he did his post media scrum or whatever, which obviously we're doing the instant reaction. We can't be a part of that. But the scrum, he basically said, oh, well, Kenny Omega built a dud of a ring or of an explosion or whatever. And that's what the problem was. So you have Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley saying, oh yeah, it was a dud. Kenny Omega doing kind of what I said, where he's like, it was a dud, but I got you guys all worried and yada, 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 all that sort of stuff. So that's the official company line, is that Kenny Omega, who built this thing, built a dud. What do you make of that line of thinking? What do you think about how AEW has kind of handled this dud so far?
I mean, it's always going to be one of those wrestling moments that everybody mocks and laughs and dunks on and roasts, but they're doing the best they can. They're basically doing what we suggested that they should do. Put the heat on the heel, and put the heat on Kenny Omega. And Moxley and Kingston, I thought they had a really good pre-tape promo on Dynamite. And Kingston explained that he had flashbacks to being in the hood, and it gave him anxiety, and then they argued over whether, Kenny Omega is this Joker-like genius who did this on purpose just to throw a scare into him, and they kind of had conflicting opinions on that. And then they blamed Impact Wrestling for building a shoddy bomb. So, I mean, this was a better course of action than trying to pretend that the explosion was good or effective. So, they had to pivot in some way. And they're making the best of it, but there was no way to completely fix it. You weren't going to completely get out of this, so to speak. But I think they're doing the best they can, and they're doing it in the best way possible. I really did enjoy, and bigger picture, I really like Kingston and Moxley together as a unit. I think that has a lot of upside and a lot of potential.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, what did you make of? Because I saw some people being critical of Tony Khan going in that media scrum, which has usually been Tony Khan not in character, Tony Khan as sort of the EVP, or the president, or whatever the hell his exact title would be. It's more Tony Khan the human being talking about AEW to media people, and he didn't really kind of undermine it with character work or anything like that usually. Whereas this time on the media scrum, he kind of alludes to, well, I think Kenny built a dud, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that sort of. Did you have any issue with that of him kind of blurring those lines?
Well, I don't blame him. I blame the media people on the call. Okay, I don't mind him laying out the kayfabe. That's fine. I think he has to do that. But one of those reporters has to get on the call and say, "Okay, Tony, thank you so much for explaining the kayfabe, but please tell us what went wrong."
Yeah, right. Well, was this the plan? Did you guys know that it was going to look like this? What went wrong? Yeah, what went wrong? Yeah, okay, Kenny built a dud, but no, seriously, what went wrong? Why did this happen? Yeah.
And then if he gives you the same Kenny Omega doesn't know how to build a bomb thing, now I'm putting it on Tony Khan.
Sure.
Now he's evading the question because they have established that these media scrums are non-kayfabe. They'll work a little kayfabe in where they need to if they want to advance a story or try to do a non-answer. But for the most part, they have established that these media scrums, especially his, are non-kayfabe. So it's not fair of him to dodge this one when the heat is on, and it's, it's not all people throwing roses. It's not a situation where your show went well, which is usually the case. You can't let him off the hook by allowing him to dodge this simply with kayfabe. Somebody should have followed up and said, "No, really, what went wrong?
Yeah, right.
Did you, what went different here than when you rehearsed it? Why didn't this, and that needed to be asked, but it was never asked. It's just every time someone comes on one of these, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of the people that come on these things, when their name is called, the first thing they're doing is throwing roses at his feet. "Oh, Tony, great pay-per-view. Oh, I really love the pay-per-view. I can't believe how great the pay-per-view." What are you doing? That doesn't even need to be said. That has nothing to do with anything. Ask some questions. Ask some real questions with some meat on the bone. Don't sit here and tell them how great the pay-per-view was, especially since it wasn't great. I haven't seen any positive reviews for this pay-per-view. It seems like the only people who like this pay-per-view were the 8 people who asked him questions in the post media scrum.
Right. Yeah, most others have kind of been on our. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we thought it sucked, but we definitely thought it was the lower end of AEW pay-per-views, and yeah, that's everything that I've read is pretty much ranges from that was kind of disappointing, that kind of sucked, to it was okay but not great. Yeah, very few people overwhelmingly thought it was a good pay-per-view, because I just don't know how you could. I really don't, especially given what AEW's produced in both pre-COVID and during COVID as well. They've had far better pay-per-views, and I cannot take you seriously if you think this is one of their better pay-per-views. It just was not.
It is a guy who owns 2 pro sports franchises and 2 of the biggest sports in the world. He's a big boy.
He can take it. Yeah, he can take it. Yeah.
Okay. He's a big boy. He's kayfabing everybody, and people are just letting him get away with it. He used the same kayfabe answer on 3 or 4 different people. Someone had to have the guts to say, "Thanks for explaining the kayfabe, but now tell us what really went wrong, or whether or not this really did go wrong." Tony, thanks for explaining the kayfabe. Are you telling us that this was the plan? Put him on the spot. Ask him the question. Are you telling us that this was really the intent? Make him answer it. Make him a little uncomfortable. He can take it. He's a billionaire. He owns 2 pro sports teams. You could put his feet to the fire a little. And my issue is that nobody did that. They all asked the same question in a different way and got the same kayfabe answer and didn't follow up. So how can I put that on him? They let him off the hook. You know what I mean? If someone would have asked the proper question and he kept dodging it with kayfabe, now I'm singing a very different tune on this show right now. I'm saying, well, he did a bad job. He's got to answer the question, because you can't be Mr. I'm going to do non-kayfabe media scrums and then hide behind kayfabe when it's convenient. Mm-hmm. But they didn't even give him a chance to do that.
Yeah, if you're allowed to, then yeah, then yeah. If nobody kind of puts your foot to the fire, then you are kind of allowed to do that, even though it sucks. It shouldn't be the case.
I can accept that the kayfabe and the reality are 2 different answers. That's because I understand pro wrestling. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But they never forced or even attempted to squeeze the real answer out of them. They're too busy telling them how great the pay-per-view was, which no one cares about or has time for. I listen to these scrums after we're done with our instant reaction because I'm looking to get a little something out of it for what we do. And you're wasting my time when you come on these things and you're just, what a great pay-per-view. Why? Skip that part. Get to the question. You know what I mean? It's just a total waste of time and really just unnecessary. But I don't blame him for those answers. I blame him not getting the proper questions.
Right, but the wrestler responses I think have been pretty good. I think from Kenny and what he did, and them making light of it as well, not them running from it or them kind of pretending that it was like you said. The key afterwards, and I think you and I both were in agreement on that night. The key was you cannot go on Dynamite and say that's exactly what we wanted to happen and what an explosion, what a moment, and all that sort of stuff. Yes,
yeah. In
the night, it made the announcers and it made Eddie Kingston look like goofballs. Eddie was able to cover it up. The announcers, whatever. Like, we will forget about this pretty soon. I mean, we'll forget about the actual ramifications of it, I think, pretty soon. We won't forget about the moment. That is a WrestleCrap moment forever now. That thing will always be, that meme, that GIF, that video, whatever, will always be passed around. That will become an iconic moment. But all it really took, I think, and credit to the wrestlers as well, was owning it and saying, okay, we have to have a clear idea of what we're going to do moving forward, and have Eddie own it, have Mox own it, have Omega own it, and whatever way they're going to own it, we just all have to be on the same page. And they were pretty much from that scrum on. And so I give them credit to try to make the most of the situation and not try to cover it up or, edit it and say, oh, here, no, look at the video. And then you add, 10 more explosions and a bunch of smoke. They just kind of said, hey, it fucking sucked, but here's why it fucking sucked. It fucking sucks on purpose, is the kayfabe reason. But you're right. There needs to be a little bit more from inside the company of why that happened.
It's like we said on the instant reaction, they had 3 days to figure out how to worm their way out of it. And I think they did, they did so as effectively as they can. It's just it was terrible. There's no, there's no way around it. The problem is the announcers and Kingston were put in a bad spot because, okay, if it had just been the Sparklers, I think at that point Jim Ross and Excalibur could look at each other and say, we can't put this over.
Right. Let's agree to say that something got fucked up.
We just got to bury it. But the problem was, it wasn't completely toothless, but it also sucked. So what do? You're in a tricky spot. You got another minute on the air, and you have to just. I mean, I can't be mad at the announcers. I can't be mad at Kingston. They were in a real tricky spot, because it wasn't like it was. There were explosions. They just weren't great explosions. And it's like, and you also don't know how it's coming across to the viewer. You're in the building.
Right. There was some smoke, but not enough smoke. Like, it was all, they all had the building blocks there. But did you see that one? There's a video out there of some guy in the upper deck of Daly's place that shows the ring. Have you seen that one yet?
There were a couple different pictures and videos where it looks great.
It looks not bad. Yeah, this one that I saw was like, okay. I wouldn't call it great. Like, it's not, it's not Onita. It's not, it's not that level, but it's not bad. Like, the ring gets covered with smoke. The noise is pretty loud, and you say, oh, okay, there we go. Like, that's kind of how it's supposed to look. And then you see another view, and it's like, oh, no, that looks like utter garbage. Like, it looks like literally the hard cam was like the worst view possible. Like, the absolute worst view possible. So maybe from that standpoint, they should have tried to figure out, hey, let's shoot it from above so the smoke kind of rises into the camera and kind of clouds up the ring. Because what we saw was, Eddie 45 feet away from the nearest, sparkler or whatever. It just looked ridiculous. But yeah, there was some shots that I saw where I'm like, oh, okay, that's actually not that bad. So if you were up in the upper deck when you tested it, you might think, oh, that looks pretty good. And then, yeah, when you shoot it with the hard cam, it looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, it's obviously just came across terrible. But I think they did a fair job on Dynamite with their explanation. And now you keep moving forward with that story. And then they had Callis and Omega follow up too when they did their promo in the ring. Kind of like not admitting that they made a shitty bomb on purpose, but leaving it ambiguous, and kind of hinting that they may have done that on purpose. It's
right. And that's exactly what I said they should do too. And so I'm glad they did that. Is I would have Kenny be like, did I make it on purpose, or are you guys just, did I have you guys doing mind games, yada yada yada? You thought it, and that's the perfect way to do it. So nobody looks like a dork. I mean, Eddie kind of looks like a dork, but I think he was able to provide enough reason on this week's Dynamite to kind of get him back. And it's fucking Eddie Kingston. Like, all he has to do is come in the ring and cut 2 more promos, and you're not going to remember that he was in the ring looking like a dork, because he's fucking Eddie Kingston. You know what I mean? Like, he's great at promos. So those guys, I think, will be okay. It's just the real question moving forward is, for AEW's purposes, this was a show where they definitely overpromised and underdelivered on a few different things, and how often can you do that and get away with it, I guess, is the big question.
Well, I thought David Bixenspan made a great point on Twitter where he said Eddie Kingston is the perfect kind of character where you can get away with claiming he had an anxiety attack.
Right.
Because he's a tough guy, but he's also a guy where he wears his heart on his sleeve. Mm-hmm. So it comes off like a credible promo. Bruiser Brody can't come out there and say, I had an anxiety attack.
Right. The noises were loud. Yeah,
it doesn't work for certain, that's not going to, New Jack can't pull that off and say, I had an anxiety attack. No, because it kind of goes against their aura. It fits with Eddie Kingston. He's someone where you'd say, okay, he's the kind of guy who would admit to an anxiety attack, and it doesn't take away any of his tough guy. Right.
No, that's a great point, because Eddie, some of Eddie's best promos start out with full of bravado. I'm going to kick your ass, you fucking pussy, yada yada yada, and then with him, in tears, crying about so. Yeah, he's the perfect guy to do that, because deep down, that he is. He gives the facade that he's the most tough dude in the world or whatever, but deep down, that he's a very emotional guy and a very kind of complicated guy. So yeah, great point by Vix there. That's perfect. Yeah.
So that's why, in a sense, they were lucky it was Kingston and not maybe someone else on the Raw, like Pentagon Jr. or something, where it might be a little harder to pull that off. You know what I mean? But so yeah, I thought they wiggled out of it just fine, or the best that they could. It's still going to hang over their heads. It's still going to be. And here's the further you get away from it, the more you can laugh at it yourselves.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be this thing. Like, AEW can make it the butt of jokes. They can't do that yet. But the further they move away from it, years from now, that could be something that they play on a a blooper reel or something, and then it could be something you laugh at. You just got to get through these first few weeks, and then the further you move away from it, you don't really have to worry about it anymore.
All right, so let's get some other topics here. We're going to go to Japan. We're not going to bounce around Japan. We're going to do a lot of discussions about Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragongate, New Japan Pro Wrestling, a little bit about WWE as well. WrestleMania tickets on sale. NXT running 2 nights during WrestleMania weekend, and also just a quick check-in on what's going on with Mania weekend, and we'll probably get some people mad. Maybe we won't get people mad on this show, but coming very soon, I'm sure we will get people mad at us. Also, John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace. Back in the fold. But before we do all that, I do want to let you know this episode of the Voices of Wrestling Flagship Podcast is sponsored by our friends at Upstart. And you know that credit card, the one that you're afraid to look at and see what the balance is. If you've been avoiding your debt, it's time finally to confront it, and Upstart can help you face it and finally pay it off. Last year showed us that you never know what life is going to throw at you. And if you use credit cards to pay for unexpected expenses, it can be overwhelming now to manage all that debt, but you can finally take control with Upstart, so you know exactly what to expect. Upstart is the fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt all online, whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses. Over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get simple, fixed monthly payments. Upstart finds smarter rates with trusted partners because they assess more than just your credit score. You do a 5-minute online rate check, and you can see your rate upfront for loans from $1,000 to $50,000. You can get approved the same day and receive funds as fast as 1 business day as well. If debt is taking over your life, it is finally time to start and get a fresh start with Upstart. So find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/VOW. That's upstart.com/VOW. Don't forget to use that URL, upstart.com/VOW, so they know that we sent you there. Once again, that's upstart.com/VOW. And we do have to note here that loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain information provided in your loan application. So upstart.com/VOW. All right.
What do you think of the new heel unit?
I like it. It's interesting. I like it a lot. I'm a stable guy. I like stables, especially in American wrestling. I think they do it pretty well, as long as they don't get a little too long in the tooth. Like, that has always been my issue with American stables. Like, don't just hang around in the same group for 7 years or whatever. But no, I like it a lot. I'm definitely interested in it. I think it's got a nice hierarchy. I like the talent in there. And you already have the next stories as well, with MJF and Wardlow potentially breaking up and that sort of stuff. So no, I'm into it, and I think it's time for the Inner Circle to turn babyface as well. So I love that segment. That was a really, really cool segment at the end of Dynamite.
Yeah, I knew at this stage of the game that Jericho at some point had to be a babyface. I think we called that, and most people called that. Not like we have magic 8 balls here, but when MJF joined Inner Circle, it's like, oh, okay, so Jericho's going to go face, which he really needs to be at this point of his career. They sing along to his song when he comes out. Nobody wants to boo him. They kind of they're polite, and they play along with the show when they boo Chris Jericho. They want to cheer him. So, but I never even thought about turning Santana and Ortiz face along with, but that makes perfect sense too. And Sammy already turned, many weeks ago when he quit because of MJF.
Hager's the only one that I'm not quite sure. I honestly, I would just stop calling him. just say, hey, you don't have to show up anymore, pal, if you don't want to. So.
Yeah, I guess he just had to turn with the rest of the team.
Yeah,
but he's not really a significant guy. He wrestles like once every 2 months, and it's like he's just there. They don't even let him cut promos. Part of his character is he doesn't talk.
He just sits there with his goofy looking face.
Yeah, so, but yeah, Inner Circle going babyface is the right move. People want to cheer them anyway. And, it freshens up your top heel unit,
mm-hmm.
With MJF clearly. Look, because MJF's going to be the lead heel in this promotion for the next 15 years. So you may as well get that rolling now. And it's just a group of totally unlikable people. FTR have been great heels. Tully, Sean Spears, nobody wants to root for him. And, the Wardlow. And eventually they'll do the Wardlow MJF thing at some point. I'm glad they haven't yet. I don't think it's time for it. So, yeah, I think this really freshens things up a lot on both sides. Because you don't just have a fresh heel unit on top, but you got all these fresh baby faces now, too, with the Inner Circle guys that you can really do something different with as well. So Sammy Guevara feels like a bigger deal now. You can really turn it up with Proud and Powerful.
I'm excited for them. I'm really excited for them because I think they're a team that always, like, if I ever was booking them, I'd bring them in as heels and then always get them over and then turn them face and then just go with them as faces for like the rest of the time, because they seem to just kind of work well as heels initially, but then they're so good and so fun that eventually you're gonna have to turn them face. And yeah, I think the time is right for them. So I'm really, really excited to see what they can do, because that's a whole lot of new fresh matchups for them.
Yeah, for sure. So wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I love it. I love stables. For old school wrestling, stables are just the best. And the key though is, and it's one of the criticisms I have about New Japan is that people get in these stables and then they're just in fucking chaos for 15 years, and it's just like, all right, we got to move. We got to adjust things here a little bit. And America sometimes, with the NWO, obviously, or 15 different iterations of the NWO or whatever, that's where it can really fail. But it can be so powerful when it's done like, Evolution in WWE, which is perfect. It was done for a couple years, got 2 guys over way more than they would ever have gotten over. Like, it, when done well, a good wrestling stable is just untapped. And the Four Horsemen, obviously, of the past vintage, and there's many others as well that really stood out. But I'm excited about this, and it seems that AEW realizes the power of stables. So I'm in. I like it a lot. So. All right, let's. We're talking about New Japan. Let's get to the New Japan Cup here. So you and I have both watched most of the first round. I think you said you've seen every match in the first round of the New Japan Cup, right? All 16 matchups of the first round. I've seen, I want to say about 14 of the 16. There's maybe one or two that I'm looking at as I'm scrolling that I haven't seen. But overall, what have you thought of the first round of the New Japan Cup?
I didn't see Thursday's show. So I've seen 14 matches. I think it's been good. There's only, out of the 14 matches I've seen, maybe 2 or 3 that I would say are full-on skip territory. And a lot of them have been flat out great. I don't know where we left off last week. What did we leave off with last week?
I don't know that did we watch any of it at that point last week? We didn't talk about New Japan last week. But did we talk New Japan last week at all?
We talked about some of these New Japan Cup matches. I know we did. Let's start with did we talk about, well, night 1 was Goto and Taichi and Yano and Fale.
I'll be honest, I don't think I watched any of them last week.
Did we talk about Shingo and Okada?
We did not, because I just watched that a few days ago, so I know for a fact we didn't. So,
all right, well then we can talk about the whole fucking thing then. I mean, Shingo and Okada so far, I think, has been the best match. No, we did. We talked about Okan and Naito.
Oh, that's right. So I did. Okay, so I had seen a few then. That's right. I forget that that's even in there. Yes, of course. So I've seen that one.
We talked about the first set of matches that were on the big show. We didn't talk about any of the New Japan Cup shows. That's where we left.
Oh, we were, yes. Okay, so they had the 2 or 3 New Japan Cup matches on the night 0 or whatever. It was the last night of that one tour. And then they officially kicked off. So we hadn't seen any of the official shows. So yeah, that's correct. So the
anniversary show. We talked about the anniversary show. So I mean, I guess we can just go through some of the rest quickly. I thought Goto and Taichi had a really good match. I went 4 1/4 on that. Yano and Fale obviously was exactly what
I did not watch that, believe it or not. So.
You'd think it would be. So but the next night, which was night 2, was really good because that was Minoru Suzuki and Hanma.
That ruled. I love that match.
That was really good. And I think it helps that Hanma, when he wrestles a guy where he doesn't have to bump a lot, because Suzuki's just going to slap him around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, he can do that. He doesn't have to take big bumps. He just kind of gets slapped and yelled at by Suzuki. So
yeah, and I thought Kenta and Juice was really good too. I know people don't seem to be as high on that one of the 3 on that night, but I went 4 flat on the Suzuki match, the Kenta match, and then, of course, Shingo and Okada, which I went 4 1/4 on that, and I feel like I'm the low man.
You are the low man for sure. Yeah, I went 4.5. I think that's my favorite non-Wrestle Kingdom New Japan match this year. I mean, I thought it was tremendous, and I am so glad now, Joe, that we have reached the stage where Okada has now learned from the master himself, Hiroshi Tanahashi, on how to say, yeah, my back, I got 2 slip discs. My back, yeah, I'm shot. It's just, yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm going to be in pain forever, but you know what? Hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to wrestle anyway. Then he comes out, and Kevin Kelly screams about Okada's back, and how is he going to be able to do this? Oh, he was wearing tape yesterday, but he's not wearing tape today because he doesn't want Shingo Takagi to know about his bad back. And then what happens for the next 24 minutes is Shingo Takagi kicks his back breaks him, takes him off the top rope, all this sort of stuff. And everybody goes, oh my God, what a gutsy effort by Okada to work with a bad back. And then people get all upset online and say, oh, these wrestlers shouldn't work with injuries and all that sort of stuff. And he's gutting it out, and he really should. And he should take time off. And man, what a miraculous effort this was to work this hard despite having an injured back. And it's just, I just laugh every time at it. So we're doing it again. So I'm glad. Great. Okay, cool. Herniated discs. And now we have matches where a guy just kicks him in the back the entire time. So, all right, that's fine.
So are you doubting he has herniated discs?
Yes.
That's a hot take.
I'm sure he's hurt, because all wrestlers are hurt. Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
But
see,
no, I don't buy. I mean, every time it's hook, line, and fucking sinker, man. We did this for 5 years with Tanahashi. We had one guy. Remember when Evil was faking an injury, and we had a guy in New Japan that was just like, guys, just to let you know, like, it's not at all. He's hurt, but it's not what we're saying. He's hurt by, like, just because people are going nuts about, oh man, Evil, he might never be able to wrestle again, and because they were saying he had like a broken neck or something like that.
I remember what it was. It was the company was publicly saying that Evil had a broken back or something, but in reality, it was a jaw injury.
Right. So then, like, people were going out of their way to say, oh, this New Japan is irresponsible for putting him in the ring. I mean, he's got a broken back, and somebody had to say, just so you guys know, like, I mean, yes, he's hurt, but not, it's not the back.
Yeah, they were like, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Don't report this. Don't talk about it on your show. But there's nothing wrong with his back. That's the kayfabe because we want his matches to have the drama of the back injury, but really he just has a broken jaw. He got punched in the face.
Right. So then every match that Evil had while he had a broken back was everybody kicking him in the back and doing backbreakers to him. Every match where Tanahashi's got a torn bicep, Zack Sabre Jr. is kicking it into the ring post and doing all this sort of shit. Now Okada loosely applies athletic tape. A guy rips him off and then kicks him in the back for the entire match. And no, I don't buy that. If he has 2 fucking slip discs, I'm not telling Shingo Takagi to do a goddamn backbreaker from the top rope to him. Like, that's probably not happening.
I see where you're coming from. I don't know where I stand on this one because I think, but here's what annoys me. When Meltzer reported the slip discs, people were like, aha, so much for those people who thought.
Oh, you got owned over the weekend, Joe. You got fucking
so much
owned.
for those people. So much for those people who thought he was wrestling bad on purpose. And like, no, dummy, this confirms what I've been saying.
Right, and that was also the story was that he was being bad on purpose.
Yeah, no, because exactly. Listen, if the guy goes out there in the main events and against the other top workers and has great matches, then he's obviously working down against everyone else on purpose. What do you
It's called the Tanahashi. It's called the Tanahashi tag team match, where he's in a 6-man and goes, "You guys got this. My bicep, yeah, you know." But then on the G1 the next night, when he's in the fucking main event, he's going to go 27 minutes and have a fucking banger. It's like, why do we have to do this again? We're doing this again.
Why are you subtweeting me? I'm right. I'm right. I'm like that. I forget who it is in the meme, but it's like, why are you yelling at me? I'm right. Like, this proves that I was right, that he was working poorly on purpose. And then they made that the story. They literally made it the story. They literally had people cutting promos, him and other people cutting promos that he was working shitty, that he was wrestling shitty on purpose. Like, that was literally the story. And if he has these slip discs, and he was having shitty matches against shitty people, and then having good matches against good people, that just proves me right. That he was working shitty on purpose. That was the point. That was the story. I have no idea why people are like getting on me when I was proven right by all of this. That is the part that was infuriating to me. So whether he really has the slip discs or not, and I'm not prepared to go as far as you are, we were absolutely right with that theory that he is working not working as hard and working poorly on purpose in certain matches and then going all out in other matches. You can't have the performances that he had against Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom or Shingo in both of the Shingo matches, both the G1 match, which I liked a little bit better than this one, but this one was great too, and this match, and then go out there and work the way without doing it on purpose.
Right. When he lays a turd against one of these great wrestlers, when he goes in there with an Ospreay, when he goes in there with the Tanahashi, when he goes in there with a Naito, when he goes in there with a Shingo and lays a fucking turd and it's absolutely garbage and he can't do a drop kick and he can't do it, then I'll say, okay, maybe this is actually a thing. But if he continues to have great matches with great wrestlers and bad matches with bad wrestlers, I'm going to continue to think that maybe this is all part of a big story. So.
Exactly. Either a bit, or if he's really hurt, he's working poorly on purpose.
Right, it's one or the other. It's absolutely one or the other. Yeah, there's a reason why his matches with Yujiro suck beyond just Yujiro sucks.
All I know is it's intentional either way.
Right.
That's my point.
Right.
Like, he's not.
He's either taking it easy or he's intentionally kind of dogging it.
Here's why I'm right and all of these people are wrong. Okay, because if he was out there. He's not out there trying to have great matches against these lesser opponents, and he physically can't do it.
No, he's being dumb on purpose in those matches to the point where the announcers are saying, "Why are you doing this stupid move? Stop doing this stupid move and do your real move."
It's not even that. We have the proof that he physically can do it because he does it against Will Ospreay and Shingo and all the top opponents. Do you think it's just happenstance that those are when he has a good night? And he just happens to have a bad night every time he wrestles somebody in a match that he doesn't care about.
Right.
So that's why it's utterly ridiculous, that people think that, this was some kind of, anyway, that definitely annoyed me. I had to
regardless,
shut my
with his two
slip
discs.
The whole neighborhood heard me screaming.
I know that. But I do. Because the best part is I'm seeing people on Twitter be like, oh man, I once had a slip disc and I could barely get out of bed. And this guy's having great matches with Shingo. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. My guess, because it's pro wrestling, and again, believe it or not, Joe, and this is one of the issues that I'm having with modern pro wrestling, is that sometimes, now, especially nowadays, they're doing it a lot for some reason. these wrestlers are pretending that they're hurt when they're not actually hurt, and it's just
these scoundrels.
It's just really starting to ruin the sanctity of wrestling. I mean, this has happened a lot lately, and I'm getting pretty sick of it, to be honest. So
again, I'm not prepared to go quite as far as you.
I'm sure. You know what? Honestly, I'm sure he's probably got something wrong with his back. I'm sure he's got something wrong with his knees. I mean, if anybody who's ever met a wrestler knows they're in constant fucking pain every day.
Well, listen, what did we say back when all of this started? Okay, he's now catching up to Naito and Tanahashi, where he's not a kid anymore, and he's got a lot of miles on the tires, and he's reached a point in his career where he's just going to take it easy most of the time. He's not going to go all out in tags. He's not going to go all out when he's not in the main event. He's not going to go all out when he's in a match that he doesn't care about. Just like T-shirt Naito, just like T-shirt Kenny Omega when he was there, just like Tanahashi.
Yeah, six-man Tanahashi.
He's in his 30s now, and he's got a lot of tread on the tires. And this is what it is in New Japan. Ibushi's going to get there someday too, believe it or not, even though he seems like a machine. But he'll get there too someday. You know, and Okada's there now. That's all. So, like you're saying, it might be, you know, maybe his back's hurt, maybe it's not. Maybe he'll get the back fixed if it's hurt, maybe he won't. But next year it'll be something else. You know, the year after that it'll be something else.
Right, he's entered that stage. Whatever it is, they are now using his broken down body as a story, and that's
right.
They did the same thing for the last decade with Tanahashi. They did that's just it's a classic pro wrestling tale, especially by New Japan. And they've been able to tell the story for many years now, hook, line, and sinker, and everybody falls for it every single time. So, and
Naito's knees. I mean, Naito has had knee surgeries. I mean, it's not a secret. You know, they're wrapped up like a fucking mummy underneath his knee pads every time he gets in the ring. I mean, and that's his deal.
Yeah, and then somehow, you know, if it's a big time match or it's a Wrestle Kingdom, he goes out there and has a fucking 5-star match. So it's, you know, even though he's on his deathbed almost every, you know, time, oh my god, you know, Naito, the breakdown, all sort of stuff, and they're you know.
And it might be like he doesn't, and that might be why he doesn't look super crisp in, you know, random matches here or there, and people like Meltzer harp on it because he's not super crisp, because maybe he's only going 80% in those matches, but when these guys have to go 100%, they're able to do so.
Yeah, I mean that match was fucking incredible. Okada and
Shingo,
Shingo,
match. Yeah,
that was
just
awesome. Goddamn, that was great. Yeah, just great back and forth. Okada selling his back like $1 million. Shingo just, I mean, this is what we say all the time, and people say, "Oh, you guys just love Shingo," and it's like, dude, this dude could main event any promotion, anytime, in any era ever. You know what I mean? He's just so fucking great. I can't believe there's still, like you said, I don't honestly believe if you with a straight face tell me that you don't think this guy's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You're just, I don't know. We're watching a different thing. We're just watching a different thing. I don't know what's going on.
You're just not going to get it every night anymore. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and for a while you did, while you weren't getting it every night from the guys who were a little bit older than him. But, you know, that's where you are now. But yeah, it was a great match. I think I like the G1 match a little better because of the drama of the finish with the money clip and Shingo desperately trying to punch out of it. I thought that was a real dramatic and a moment I won't forget. And this was a great match too, but I like the story of this because Shingo wasn't going to be finished by the money clip this time. You know, he was ready for it this time and was always able to get to the ropes.
I liked as well that, you know, Okada then decides, okay, you know, the money clip's not going to work. I'm going to go for my Rainmaker. And, like, he doesn't even get near hitting it. I mean, Shingo just reverses him right away and fucking finishes him off. So I think that's a really cool part of the story as well, is because, you know, there was a long time where Okada just would not, I'm not going to go to the Rainmaker. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to use the money clip. Well, in this case, he goes, oh, shit, I can't use the money clip against Shingo. All right, fine, I'll go to the old faithful. I'll go to the, you know, the Rainmaker. And it's like, oh, fuck, I can't even do that now. You know, that I always had that ace in the hole of, all right, fine, I'll do the fucking Rainmaker, I'll beat him or whatever. Now he can't even do that. So that's a really cool story they're telling as well, is that ace in the hole that he always had, now that isn't even as reliable as it used to be. So,
and it made sense to go for the money clip here because it beat him last time.
Right.
Like, that worked. So, but then, you know, like you said, he realized that wasn't going to be good enough this time. And Shingo was ready for him and he beat him. So, yeah, that's been the best match so far. The next night was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Gabriel Kidd. They had a really good match. Did you see this night?
I did, yeah. That was a technical wizardry match. That was really cool. It was just like kind of an old school grapple match there between those guys. Gabriel Kidd's solid. He's starting to move up in my rankings a little bit.
Yeah, and Will Ospreay versus Tenzan, where, you know, Tenzan did step up. You know, it wasn't like a great notebook match or anything, but I thought Tenzan was serviceable in the match, and it helps that those two have been on opposite sides of a feud, and I thought they had a pretty good match too. So that was a pretty good night. And well, that's night 3, so we move on to night 4. We might be getting into territory where you are checking out.
I'm watching a few of the matches here, but I'm not watching the entire shows at this point. So
Yuji Nagata versus Tsuji, did you see that one?
I saw most of that one. Yeah, I didn't see all of it. But that was a fun match, a good one. I think they made the right decision there too. I mean, obviously Tsuji wasn't going to move forward, because he's a young lion. But I think they did a good job of teasing it enough. But I like Nagata moving on. I like him making his miracle runs.
I like Tsuji slapping him in the face twice before he got hit with the final.
Yeah.
Backdrop driver.
That's just as important as getting a win, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, but being able to kind of humble your, Yuji Nagata in that case before you lose, I think is a pretty cool story to tell. So I like that.
Sanada and Ishii. I went 4.25 on this as well.
So I have not seen this one yet, but you have rave reviews. A lot of people have said they liked it a lot. So
I thought this was Sanada's cleanest and best performance in a long time.
I'm not doing this again.
No, it was.
I'm not buying into Sanada again. You can't convince me.
I'm the first one to point out his faults. I mean, I bury him all the time. He was good here. And Ishii is Ishii. So I thought this was a really solid match, right up there with Shingo and Okada. Like, same neighborhood. I think I prefer Shingo and Okada a smidge. But this is probably, for me, the second best match of the tournament. It was really good. So then it was, what was that, Okayama? Or was that, let me see. Yeah, so then the next night was Yoshihashi and Yujiro. That was a nothing match. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was better than it looks on paper, but it's nothing you need to rush out of your way to see. David Finlay, Chase Owens, again. Those two matches, and I think Fale and Yano are the 3 that you can safely skip and really not miss anything. And then Jay White, Toa Hanare, I liked it, but in some ways it left me a little empty too. But I did like it, and I thought it was worth my time. But I don't know. I thought it could have been. Those two guys have a better match in them. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I have not seen that one yet, but I've kind of heard the same thing that people say. Yeah, it had the elements of being good, but ultimately, didn't quite feel like it delivered all the way that it should have. So,
yeah, and like I said, I didn't see the Evil Cobb or Yano Okan. This is now second round.
Yeah. So those have moved.
I saw the whole first round, I guess, and I screwed up. It's actually 14 first round match. Remember, 2 guys had buys.
Right. Yeah.
So I've seen the whole first round, and you need to see I think 2 or 3 matches.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll move on to the second round here. We're recording this on the 11th, so we actually have a few days. So for the first time, it feels like we have a little bit of a break here. But then things go nuts. We got shows on the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 18th, the 20th, and the final is March 21st. New Japan Cup final. But yeah, second round matchups, obviously Evil and Cobb has happened. Evil moved on. Okan and Toriano has happened. Toriano moves on. So we have Evil versus Toriano in the quarterfinals of a hellscape quarterfinal match here. But some good stuff to look forward to this night. Oh man, Hiroki Goto and Shingo versus Suzuki and Kenta. That sounds like a hell of a night of New Japan Cup action. I'm excited about that one. And then I'm going to be honest, the next night is just as good. Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, those guys have made fucking magic with each other before. So they can't
have anything less than a great match.
Yeah, it's just impossible. It's impossible for those guys to not go out there. And yeah, it wasn't until I was getting ready for the show that I even realized that was the next round matchup. I'm looking at the matchups and going, holy shit, Ospreay versus Zack Sabre, just a quarterfinal or a second round matchup. So that should be awesome.
What's interesting is this is the first time they'll wrestle with the roles reversed, because Ospreay is going to be a full on heel and Sabre is going to be a babyface in that match.
It's true, yeah, that's right.
Because Sabre can go either way with Suzuki Gun, but they're kind of fluid. They're more of a fluid unit right now, so he will be he will work face, and Ospreay will work heel, and they've never, that I can recall, had a match with that dynamic. They've had matches where they were both faces. They've had matches where Sabre was a heel. I can't recall this dynamic between these two, unless there's a match I'm forgetting, maybe from years ago in Progress or something, where Ospreay was a heel briefly or something. But so in New Japan, though, for sure, this is the first time they'll have that kind of dynamic.
Yuji Nagata and Sonata as well. I mean, those guys, I think, in past, they've had some pretty decent matchups before. if I remember correctly, so that should be pretty okay. And then I don't think things get a little dicey here. David Finlay versus Yoshihashi. I don't know if I'm particularly excited about that. And then Jay White and Hiroshi Tanahashi, I think, has the potential to be really good, but I'm a little iffy on Jay White right now, so we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, Tanahashi, it's hard to have a bad match with Tanahashi, but the Jay White shtick is really starting to kind of wear thin on me right now. So
yeah, a lot of people thought he stalled way too much against Hanare. I was into the story they were telling, but I get it. I totally get it. I do think, like I said, they have a better match in him. So he's really leaning heavily into that stuff, and that's what you were complaining about, last week or the week before with him. So, Jay White is going to be a lot like, see, there's some guys now in this company where it's going to be sort of an acquired taste thing, and Great O'Khan is one of them, and Jay White's going to be another one. You're either into what they're doing or you're not, and that's really going to go a long way in determining what you think of their matches.
And then obviously quarterfinals, we'll see where that goes. That's the 16th and the 18th, as we said, and then the 20th and the 21st for the final there for New Japan Cup. But do you have any predictions moving forward, or you kind of enjoy just kind of watching it? Because I didn't fill out a ballot. I didn't really do anything this year. I know a few different websites. We did not do one officially on our website, but I know like Wrestling Omakase had one, Sport Pro Wrestling had one, the Super J-Cast had one. I didn't fill any out because I was just kind of like, I'm just going to kind of sit back and enjoy this tournament and not really, exactly know where it's going to go or exactly know who's going to win. Just kind of sit back and see what happens with it. But after a few matches here, do you have a favorite to win this, or do you think it's still kind of wide open?
I really don't. I've got the same sort of picks as everybody else. I mean, obviously Will Ospreay's a favorite. I mean, what are you thinking? I haven't really put, I'm not real big on pick'ems and stuff.
Yeah. I think,
that's never been my thing. But what do you think?
Yeah, Will seems like an obvious one, of course. Yeah, Shingo's an interesting one too. You know what I mean? Like that's
he's the other guy that a lot of people think this is his time,
right? And they've done the tease with him and Ibushi, so they've kind of established that already. So there's a possibility of that, but I don't want to ever buy in too much on New Japan pushing Shingo because it's always like you always think it's like this should be the time they do it. I mean, but if they are going to do it, a New Japan Cup's the perfect time to do it.
But there's Ibushi going through all the LIJ guys as a story.
Exactly. Right. So this seems like a perfect time for that to happen, but again, it's very hard to predict a Shingo triumph there. But yeah, I think Shingo Will. Honestly, I mean, you could get to a Shingo versus Will final too, which is pretty.
No one's going to complain about that match.
No, well, I mean, some people will, but they're idiots. So and they're wrong.
No, I mean that'll be another great match.
So there's that. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know that anybody else really stands out to me. Like Sonata, I think no, because we've done that. Tanahashi, no. Jay White is an interesting one, I guess, but I think it's probably too soon for him to get back into that mix right away.
I agree, but then how do you beat him?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of how Will Ospreay beats, a Jay White.
Would that be his opponent? That's his.
If it works out that way, yeah. If Will beats Zach and Will beats whoever, Nagata and Sonata, then yeah, it will be Will versus. I don't think David Finlay is moving on. I don't think Yoshihashi's moving on, and I don't think Hiroshi Tanahashi is moving on. So yeah, it would presumably be Jay White versus one of Will or Zach or Sonata in the semifinals, and I'd imagine it'd be Will there. So
wouldn't it be Jay White's turn to beat Will since Will beat him in the G1?
Probably.
That's how New Japan typically books.
Is that too many heels though? Because those are two shitbag heels now. Do you put two shitbag heels with each other in the semifinals?
So you don't even think they face each other?
I don't know. Well, I mean I do, but then I kind of convinced myself that they wouldn't because.
Well, then what else? What other?
I guess Tanahashi, but you're right. How do you beat Will? Who beats Will? He'd have to lose now against Tanahashi, and then because he's not losing David Finlay or Yoshihashi.
He could lose to Tanahashi, I guess. I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't do that. But if you want to avoid Ospreay versus White, one of them has to lose, and it doesn't look like anyone is capable of beating. Who is White paired up with?
White is paired up with Tanahashi, and then he's going to move on to the winner of Finlay and Yoshihashi. But that's.
Oh wait, so White faces Tanahashi.
What? Yeah, in the next round here.
Oh, Ospreay faces Sabre.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean either White or Ospreay could lose their next match, so you can get out of those two facing each other. Now, there's no reason for Sabre to win the tournament, so if he goes through, then White will probably beat him.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if Shingo's going to win it, it becomes a matter of maybe you want Shingo beating Tanahashi in the final.
I don't hate that. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Right? Because you can knock off
Will and Jay with Tanahashi, and it's like those guys don't lose anything by losing to Hiroshi Tanahashi. So
that's right. Or you can beat both Will and Jay in this round and have it Tanahashi beat Sabre.
Right.
So
just what the world needs. It's another Zack Sabre Jr. Tanahashi.
You know they like pound
I
shit.
I know.
So there's a lot of different ways you can go on that side.
Yeah, the top I don't think.
If Shingo's winning.
Yeah, the top I don't think there's anything really to do there. I mean, that Minoru Suzuki, no. Kenta, probably not. Goto, I think we're past the Goto winning New Japan Cup phases. And Evil and Yano, like I don't think those guys. I mean, obviously Yano, no way. And Evil, I mean, suppose,
Evil's
but I don't think so.
Yeah. No, he has no chance. I put him 0% chance. Yeah. Been there, done that. It wouldn't make.
Do not want.
No, he's not. I mean, it's not even just.
We're canceling the book. We're not doing the ebook if he wins the New Japan Cup. So
I like that I can't work it out. I see. I do this with the G1 too. I really don't like trying to work it out. It's weird. I'd rather just watch it.
Well, yeah, because what happens is we always do this in our G1 preview. Is we go through, we break down, and then we get to the finals, and then we look at the final night booking and go, oh, well, it's blank is going to win the whole thing, and it's kind of like, oh man.
Or at least have an idea of what. Yeah,
right. I like this. That's what I liked about this tournament is like I randomly just popped up New Japan Cup today as we were getting ready for the show, and I'm like, Will versus Zack. Hey, well, there we go. Nice. That's pretty cool. Hey, Goto versus Shingo. That's a cool match too. So I'm liking this aspect of kind of just sitting back and enjoying having the matches come to me as opposed to sort of predicting what's going to happen. So yeah.
Yeah. Like so I mean, if Shingo's going to win, I think you could, Tanahashi's the perfect final opponent, I think.
Yeah. And there's the Never connection. There's the Never title connection and stuff like that too. So yeah, it all works.
And Will Ospreay, it's like they could turn him up at any time.
Yeah, he's at a point now where he can take losses and it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really worry about it as long as they're somewhat, guys that are at or near his level. It does not matter. I mean, because whenever they have his title challenge planned is when you could turn up the dial on him, and as long as he's losing to the right people before that, it's fine.
Well, and they've also established the hellacious beatdown from the United Empire too, so you can just do that too. Like some guys like need to get those wins to kind of get over, whereas Will has sort of established that he could just beat those three guys can just go in and do a gang beatdown of Tanahashi and tell a story just from that. So
I think Jay White's the trickier one to eliminate out of the two.
Right, because he's on this whole momentum thing, and he's got it all back, and he's feeling himself again. And if you have him lose, you kind of throw all that away and go back at least to. And maybe that's the story they want to tell. Maybe this is all fake bravado right now, and then he's going to get upset by somebody, and that's going to kind of set the stage for him moving on and doing some different stuff too. So
I think you have to be more careful with his loss if you're going to beat him, unless he's winning it. Right. But if you're going to beat him, you have to be more careful with how you beat him than how you beat Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think Will Ospreay can lose to any of his opponents moving forward that are left on his side. He could lose to Zack Sabre Jr. He could lose to either Jay White or Tanahashi. Right? I mean, he could lose to any of those three.
Sure.
And I don't think it would reflect poorly on his push or his level or anything. Whereas Jay White, I think you have to be. I don't know if Jay White. Is that a good look if he loses to Tanahashi? I don't think it is.
Only if now that's the impetus for him to kind of say, all right, Gato, like you told me that we were good and everything was back to normal, but this is not back to normal. I just lost to Tanahashi in the G1. It's got to be that. It's got to be the impetus for that story then kind of moving forward.
The breakdown comes
right.
Back.
Yeah, that exactly. It has to be that. He can't just then lose in the second round of Tanahashi and then come back 2 weeks later doing his too sweet thing and just business as usual. No, that has to then send him off the deep end if he loses in the second round here.
Yeah,
which again isn't the worst story. I mean, beats Ishii, he kind of avenges that loss, but now could come in a few days. And so it's a way you could do it if you really wanted to. But I don't know. Are they ready to kind of jump ahead and get that story going yet? I don't know.
Far more interesting side of the bracket than with Evil and Yano.
Yeah.
And, who could possibly care? But
gross.
You just hope Shingo gets through, whether he wins it or not.
For sure.
So that's New Japan Cup.
That is New Japan Cup. Yes, I am contractually obligated to let you know the Wrestling Omakase daily coverage of on the Wrestling Omakase Patreon, daily coverage of the New Japan Cup as well by John Carroll. So there you go.
Are you contractually obligated? Am I getting a piece of this?
Sure. Talk to John.
You are contractually obligated?
Yes, you earned. Well, the check didn't come.
All right. Okay. I'll have to look into this. What do we got next?
The nurse has a question. What nurse?
I want to know Joe's review of our new show.
Joe, what is your review of Fired Up with the Nurse?
I did not listen to number 2 yet, but I listened to number 1 and I enjoyed it. You know why? Can she hear me?
She can hear you. I gave her part of the headphones. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know why? Because I'm a good sport and I don't mind people burying me. I think it's a lot of fun.
Well, wait till you see how far you get buried in the second episode, Joe.
You know, I do have my limits, but
You're about to reach him. You're about to reach him.
You know what I enjoyed about episode 1 is you really wanted to bury me hardcore, but then you slowly came around to my side that there's too many M&M flavors.
I think you misread. I don't know. I disagree.
No, remember we threw out all the flavors?
Oh, we did.
Because Joe not only dislikes peanut M&Ms, but he also dislikes the idea of like peanut butter and mint and cookie and all this sort of shit.
Right,
and you did the same thing. We decided we were just going to strike them off from the record.
Well, Joe, I hate to say, but wait until you hear my thoughts on Vegas.
Listen, I'm going to listen to that. I guarantee within the next 24 to 48 hours. So we'll see.
Patreon.com/voices of wrestling as well. You can listen to it.
You came around on my M&M take because here's the other thing. I also feel like some of my M&M takes were misrepresented on the show. But, I don't need to make counterpoints.
I can't speak to that because I was.
That's not your fault.
Wow! I'm getting the blowback here.
I was given a biased side of the story.
Craich misrepresented some of my M&M takes, but that's fine because he knows how to make for an entertaining podcast. You know, I give him that creative license, okay? But it was nice. It was nice to hear you slowly come around to my argument that there's way too many fucking M&M flavors. They don't need to exist. And you burying Marxism was that was the icing on the cake. That was just
you becoming a socialist, then hating taxes, and then burying.
Me becoming a socialist, but then realizing that capitalism is terrible, and then
also realizing taxes are terrible, and then realizing you don't know anymore. So,
but
he did bury you for your ranch as well. You were talking shit about ranch, and then went over how much you eat ranch, which is quite a lot, including in our fridge right now.
Yeah, you know what, Rich? I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna sit back.
I don't eat ranch.
Yeah, but here's
what's
the problem.
in our fridge right now? What's in that? What's it?
Greek yogurt
with
ranch fucking powder in it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, whose fucking side are you on?
I'm on the entertaining podcast side. $5 tier, baby.
He's stoking the flames. Here's what I want to say about the ranch, and I'm glad he brought this up.
I'm sleeping on the couch tonight now, by the way, so this better be good.
All right, Rich, move aside here. So you, nurse, you buried me for being a big ranch fan because you assume that I'm a ranch fan.
I did assume because you're from
Texas.
I
live in Texas.
But you're not from Texas. That was my mistake. You're not from Texas. Right. You simply live there. That was my misstep.
And I hate ranch. I don't allow it in my house. So you bury me for being a ranch lover, and then on top of that, you admit to eating ranch. So you're the one that eats ranch.
You eat ranch. It doesn't matter. It's the ranch powder and Greek yogurt. That's ranch.
Fine. Okay, so I can't wait. Okay, after we do the Grubhub delivery, can't wait to come back to this.
I think you guys, what I think we should do for Fired Up number 3, which we did record one where Michelle buries Grubhub and all that sort of stuff. I think we got to find a time next week to sit you guys down and have a live debate.
On Grubhub?
Yes, I think that's...
You're gonna scrap that whole episode.
We can play it, but then Joe's gonna have to respond though. He's gonna need.
I'm gonna listen to what she has to say, but I already know that it's ill-informed. And
I listened, sir. I listened.
I know I'm gonna be punching
podcast about it.
I know I'm gonna be punching walls when I listen to this. This is gonna be so inaccurate. Whatever podcast you listen to, I'm sure that they are misinformed as well. So I'm prepared for the worst when it comes to that one. But in that case, I'm also prepared to be pleasantly surprised. That's not as bad as I think it's going to be.
No, it's as bad as you think it's going to be.
Exactly what you think it's going to be.
When you said, "Oh, I bet she thinks this," and I said, "Yep, that's exactly what she said." So yeah, no, it's exactly what you thought.
You know what?
You're just ill-informed, nurse. You're just ill-informed. This would be like me talking about catheters.
You
That
don't
would be
even
like
know-
me
I
talking
don't- I feel like he's picking like the wrong topic. It's like
Whatever you do, you stick catheters in guys' dicks in that hospital. What do you do over there?
you know
Whatever it is,
I do a lot of other things.
whatever you do in that hospital, it would be like me speaking like I'm informed on it. You
Yeah.
see what I'm not.
Because he listened
I
to a
don't know
podcast about catheters.
Hey man, you
Right.
listen to Dr. Death, you can learn a lot.
I'm going to give it a chance.
All right, yeah.
I'm gonna see what
you
you
know,
have to
you know
say.
what? Here's the deal. Here's the
Okay,
deal.
you have completely
You-
taken over the show.
You go ahead, you listen to, once we publish number 3, you listen to that.
Yes,
And then
I will.
I'm going to continue my research so that I can make sure that I have proper points and evidence base.
I'm in the fire on a daily basis.
Okay, buddy, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
He's got first-hand knowledge. That's what he's saying.
I got first-hand knowledge. I fucking order from Grubhub. I'm on the other side, baby.
This is going to be a slaughter.
I can't wait.
Listen, I don't tell you how to do morphine drips, okay? So
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to say.
You could. It's always the higher the better. I'm just kidding. That's how you kill people.
That is not an official endorsement, or do not take the word of the nurse.
Anyway, you all should go to patreon.com and join for
$5.
$5. I'm on the $5.
Yeah, you're on the $5 tier. Get out of here.
Shit. Okay, take that back, everybody. Move over to my Patreon. I'm gonna start on my own minute. All right, great talk.
Enjoy.
I can't wait to work the next 6 out of 7 days. You stupid fucks. Bye.
Bye. All right. The nurse.
She sounds a little drunk.
She does. Yeah. What happened? Are you all right?
What?
Joe said you sound a little drunk, like you got into the happy juice on your way home from
No,
work.
so here's the thing. I ate a McDonald's ice cream cone. Got me really excited, but then I used the last remaining of my energy on that, and now I'm just really tired.
I could tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well.
Okay, all right, hit the brakes.
Okay, you're done. Joe's unentertained by you.
No,
now,
this is
yes.
funny. I was supposed to be eating my lunch, and then I fell asleep while I was eating because that's how tired I was today.
Okay.
But then I drank some coffee.
Great. Have fun in bed. I'll see you in a little bit.
No, please,
Beat it.
all night.
I can do that. We got another deep dive? We can do another deep dive after this one.
Take your Crocs and get walking. Get out of here.
Is she wearing, no, she's not wearing her Crocs right now, so.
No!
He said take your Crocs and get walking, but you're not wearing your Crocs right now, so.
I ain't wearing Crocs, bitch.
Because she's got her jogger scrubs on, so she can't wear her Crocs when she wears.
Crocs and joggers, you heathen.
How am I supposed to know what she's wearing over
I
there?
don't know. Okay. The chat room all thinks you're drunk too, so maybe it's time to go to bed.
What?
There's also joints over there if you want to smoke something, so enjoy.
I literally just said I'm so tired I'm gonna fall asleep.
All right, you can do that too then. All right.
Rich with the devil's lettuce off you.
That's true.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay, all right. So
Also,
let's.
I don't think I sound drunk. I think this is my normal talking voice.
No. Okay, all right. Okay, you gotta go.
Say goodnight to my precious angel dog.
Sounds a little drunk. A little drunk to me.
All right. What the hell were we talking? We were transitioning out of New Japan, correct?
What's her drink of choice? Is she a...
What is your drink
Let
of
me try
choice,
to guess.
Michelle? What would you
Me?
say? Yeah, Joe's gonna guess. Actually, hold on, stay here.
Okay.
What's your drink of choice? I say you're. Are you big on like the Trulies? Are you into that, like the fruity Truly drinks, or the?
Gross.
No.
Excuse me. I didn't realize you were into the hard liquor. What are you doing? Whiskey over there? You
No.
little Jack Daniels?
I actually
What's
drink mostly beer.
Oh, beer. Well, what kind of what brand of beer do you
porter,
consume?
Stouts.
Are
dark
you? Oh,
beer.
wait a minute. Are you a beer snob like Rich?
Yes,
Oh
I
yeah,
sure
that's
am.
how we
Oh,
actually started talking on that. As we were discussing beer snobbery, and that's how we our first 5 dates were just at breweries. So.
Yeah, craft beer bars.
Oh, well, there you go. That answers my question.
Yeah.
You can,
All right, now
you can get yourself into a vodka cran every so often, and
I'll find myself in a Moscow Mule. Mostly it's because I feel like I'm going to throw up, so I drink it for the ginger beer, but...
you have some mimosas from time to time as well.
Get a mimosa in there.
Glass of wine or two every so often. So.
Red wine.
All right. Good night.
Why'd I bring her back in? Tell her to get out of here. Well, don't tell her that, because then she's going to come back in. Just let her...
Look at this dog.
She's petting dogs. Okay, get out of here. got thousands of people listening to this right now. Let's go.
Beat it.
Yeah. Oh God! All right. I don't know. You want Dragongate, Noah? What do you want? What do you want next?
I think she should do a podcast with the children. Like all the run-in people should get together and do a podcast.
Wait, so who? Okay, sorry. Who's doing this podcast now?
She should do a podcast with the boy and the girl. All the people who do run-ins on the show.
Oh, just the run-in show, yeah.
The run-in show. The three of them should get together and do a show.
They would have similar conversations. It'd be pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah,
because you've always said TLB is probably too shy to do it, but the kids don't care, right?
The kids don't care. No, the girl can go get her Doc McStuffins outfit, and they can, they can do the doctor nurse thing. It'd work out nicely. She
can ask about being an aspiring nurse, and Michelle will just tell her no, don't do it. Yeah,
you don't want this. No.
Because you said they play doctor every so often, right? They'll.
Well, yeah, she wants to be a ballerina and a doctor. I'm like, you can't be both of those.
Both? Yeah, you can. Why couldn't you be?
Those both take incredible amounts of time to be good at. And I'm usually like, let's face it, you're probably not going to succeed at either of those. So why don't you pick something a little
Why don't you
more
take up a
realistic?
trade, girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you learn how to lay some pipe or something? Why don't you learn how to, electricity's a good field. Get into that.
Then if you happen to be good at the dancing, I'll put you in then maybe you
learn how to run power lines. That's people are always going to need power lines, honey. Why don't you learn how to do that? So.
Set low bars that are easy to clear is what I say.
Under promise, over deliver. Yeah.
What are the odds you're going to be a doctor / ballerina? I mean, we got to reel it in. We definitely have to reel it in. What's next here?
Either Dragongate or Noah. I'll let you take your pick here.
I need some water. Professional operation we run around here.
This is really bad. Yeah, I apologize. Fired up, $5 tier, patreon.com/voice of wrestling. This was not planned, by the way. So
let's do the Dragongate. Let's do
the Dragon's Gate. Yeah. Triple H's favorite promotion, the Dragon's Gate. 2 shows here. Champion Gate 2021 in Osaka. Obviously, we have the Open the Voice Gate podcast here on this very network, voiceofwrestling.com as well. Great coverage of these 2 nights and everything going on in Dragon Gate on Open the Voice Gate. Also, Case Low reviews of both of these shows at voicesofwrestling.com as well. So if you want extended thoughts on Dragon Gate, you got that there. But I've been kind of jumping in a little bit more to the Dragon Gate as of late, trying to kind of get back to it. And from what I've seen from these 2 shows, and I haven't watched all these shows, I just kind of watched the main matches, the big matches. Some pretty cool stuff going on in Dragon Gate right now. I think. A good collection of young talent that's being pushed to the top. You got a new unit, an awesome unit, Joe. High End. What do you think of High End?
Run down these members again.
So the members of High End, let me make sure I get every single one of them. I know the top 4 guys here, but I want to, I just typed in High End on Google and thought that I would get everybody that was actually in High End. So I believe High End is Benkei, Dragon Kid, Yamato, Keisuke Okuda, and I think they might have one more person, and I'm blanking on who that is. But that's a solid top 4. That is right up there with Monster Express in terms of like the Rich Craich special there with, hey, Rich, who are your 4 favorite wrestlers or 4 or 5 favorite wrestlers? We're going to put them all in the same unit. Because that was, do you remember the good old days of Monster Express when they were just fucking loaded?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think I came on this podcast and said, literally, if you gave me a book and said, write down all of your favorite, Dragon Gate guys, in a list, it would literally be Akira Tozawa, Masato Yoshino, Big R Shimizu, Anthony Nese when he was there, Uwan Nation, Shingo, Ricochet, and T-Hawk were all there. Seshi Okoboy was in Monster Express as well. I mean, that was an awesome unit when those guys were there. But
my question with this unit is, who is the leader? Is it Benkei or is it Yamato?
And I think there's some tension there, which is pretty cool. But I believe, so I can confirm it is just those 4 guys. It's Yamato, Dragon Kid, Keisuke Okuda, and Benkei. So obviously Benkei and Okuda are not the leaders. They're kind of, or Dragon Kid and Okuda are not the leaders. Yeah. But yeah, you have the tension there with Yamato and Benkei. I think it's assumed that it should be Benkei, but I'm sure you still have Yamato who thinks, well, I'm fucking Yamato. No, I'm not the second guy in a unit. No, I'm fucking Yamato. Well, who are you?
No clear-cut leader there, which, can make it interesting. And they could probably use another member or 2. But yeah, that's an interesting unit.
Unfortunately, Natural Vibes is also back. So, what are your thoughts on? Have you changed? Have you softened your stance on Natural Vibes, or do you think they still kind of stink?
I just don't like the dance. I just don't have time for dancing in my wrestling. I just, so you get past the dopey dance, I guess they're fine. But at the same time, why are we going down this road again with the same? They don't normally do that in Dragon Gate. Usually these units are left to history. So this is strange. I thought it was going to be a setup for something else, but it doesn't look that way. It looks like it's just back. So, no, overall, not a fan.
Yeah, and then obviously you have RED still going strong. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. And then Masquerade, who you're still all in on Masquerade, of course. I'd imagine.
Great unit.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
Shun Skywalker is phenomenal. He just has a presence about him. He's a superstar. He's clear-cut leader. There's no challenge to that throne. They have a great aesthetic. They have great walkout music. They look great in the ring when they do their pose. They have great colors. Everything about that is very good. It's the right group of guys. So, yeah, big fan of Masquerade.
So that's kind of the current unit layout in Dragon Gate right now. But yeah, as far as these two nights, night one, I watched the Brave Gate match. It was Keisuke Okuda versus Hyo, and then opened the Triangle Gate match, which was Natural Vibes versus RED. It was Genki Horiguchi, KZ, and Susumu versus Dia Inferno, Diamante, and Hip Hop Kakuda. There, the Okuda Hyo Watanabe match. You did not see that, right?
I only saw the Dream Gate match.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll quickly run over these ones. The Brave Gate match is okay. I've seen definitely better Okuda matches. I think these two guys have had better matches, or will have better matches than this one. There was a lot of RED interference in this one, and it really kind of dragged things down at certain times. And then they ran into, and that's, of course, that's Dragon Gate. We all kind of know that that's the score with Dragon Gate, and it's fine. But in this case, they actually made Hyo look kind of dumb, because what happened is RED tried to interfere and fucked up, and that's how Okuda beat him. So it was kind of this weird thing where they went, they had a pretty decent 15 to 16 minute match, but then ultimately it was that RED fucked up, and that's Hyo, why Hyo lost. So it's just kind of I don't know. I didn't love that, because it made Okuda kind of look like a guy who could only win because the other guy's unit fucked up, and it made Hyo look like, he had no chance of winning and needed his unit to help him, and then he still fucked up. So, when that's the result, I think that's when interference can kind of go wrong and not really be, positive in any way for those guys. But the main event was pretty damn good. Open the Triangle Gate, Genki Horiguchi, KZ, and Susumu, who I thought worked their asses off here against Dia Inferno, Diamante, and Hip Hop Kakuda. So, Genki Horiguchi is incredible. I mean, for the age that this guy is and how many years he's been in there, it's still amazing to me what he can do. And then Susumu, I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, that guy's just fucking incredible for his age. I think you have said over the past, you can make a case for him over the last 5 years as being, one of the top, what would you always say? Top 20, top 50 wrestler in the world?
Listen, I think if I really got down to the nuts and bolts of it, I wouldn't be stunned if I thought Susumu was one of the top 20 wrestlers of his generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's just awesome.
He's timeless every year too. It's like at the end of the year, you climb it, you count up your things, or you look at what he was in. You're like, God damn, that dude was in a lot of really good matches.
And he's never been in a match of the year contender, at least off the top of my head. He's not a guy that's going to fill up your notebook with high end stuff, because he's really rarely in a position to do so. He's he's very rarely in huge Dream Gate matches or something that are going to be in a position to do that. But he's just such a great wrestler. And, it's and Kagetora is the other guy who could be at that level, but he just chooses not to. Kagetora turns it down and then turns it up when he has to. Susumu is just always great, and he goes off to other companies and works just as hard, and he's a lunch pail kind of wrestler.
Yeah.
Susumu. He's just it's going to be a weird comp, but he kind of reminds me of Bobby Eaton in a lot of ways. I know that.
No, you know what? No. Comp. Now that you say it, I kind of close my eyes, and no, you're not wrong. That's a pretty damn good comp, actually.
Not in the style of work or anything, but Bobby Eaton for his era and his time, he might be one of the 20 best wrestlers.
Yeah, and he was great for 20, well beyond when you think Bobby Eaton was great. He was still good.
Yeah, and it's never really in a position to be, some tag feuds, yeah, but never really as a singles guy, and never really worked down to the spot on the card. He always worked hard. He always went out there and gave the same effort. I think they're very similar wrestlers in that way, and sort of they're understated. You almost forget about them in their place and time. But then every time they wrestle, you're like, this guy's fucking great. Why aren't I watching more of this
No,
guy?
you're absolutely right, because the thing that I always remember about Bobby Eaton is that he was in WCW until like 2000, but like nobody knew because he was only on Saturday Night or only on Worldwide. But he'd go out there and have like these really good like 9-minute TV matches on Worldwide that nobody would ever see. But yeah, he's around way longer. I mean, most people would probably say, oh, Bobby Eaton, he was, you know, it was done by, 1995 or whatever. He was done with the Blue Blood stuff. But then, you didn't know that he'd be all the way there until 2000, so.
Yeah. And always with solid work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Jimmy. I keep calling him Jimmy Susumu.
I know. I always call him Jimmy Susumu, and I feel terrible about it because he's
You know
not
what's
Jimmy.
funny, though, is-
He's only been Jimmy Susumu he was only Jimmy Susumu for like 3 years. But that's the name that always just sticks with me for some reason. I don't know why.
But you know what's what weird about it is it took so long to get used to calling him,
Right, and now I can't not call him that. So.
and now it's hard to go back. Like
Yeah, the Jimmys haven't been around for what 5 years at this point, basically. But yeah, no, I
hasn't been that long.
Maybe I don't know, but yeah, I always call him Jimmy Susumu, and I always apologize ahead of time for calling him Jimmy Susumu. So,
But when he was Jimmy Susumu, I was calling him Susumu Yokozuka. Like
right, yeah.
Now I'm used to one, and I can't go back to the other. Yeah, but no, he rules. He's just a great pro wrestler, and he did great work in All Japan last year. He had matches with that Akira Francesco, the good Italian boy, and just leading them through, and he's just a great, solid veteran wrestler.
You would also like too that when they do their post little dance thing, he just he tries, but he's definitely over it. He knows it's fucking stupid. So
He can't dance, but Genki puts in full effort.
Genki, who can't dance, also puts in full effort though. Keizi's got rhythm. Keizi can dance. He can do it all. Genki can't, but goddamn it, he tries. You know what I mean? He is your uncle that just gets on that dance floor and is like, nah, I'm doing this thing. I'm dancing with the kids, and I'm gonna do it. Susumu, like, half effort, low effort. It's me on the dance floor. That's just like, all right, yeah. Dragged kicking and screaming because he's been told he has to dance. It's a wedding, you have to dance. It's natural vibes, you have to dance. But he's gonna give the minimal amount of effort, barely move his feet, barely move his hips, just kind of go through the motions. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Genki doesn't care that he's bad.
No, he knows he's bad, but he's fucking owning it. He owns it. Yeah, he owns that dance floor for sure. So
yeah.
Good for him. But so then night 2, I watched only the top 2 matches there, a little pressed for time, and you watched the main event. So I'll first kind of talk about the Open the Twin Gate. It was Mochizuki and Yoshida defeating the RED team of BB Hulk and Kai to win the titles.
Thank God.
The Yoshida thing is awesome, by the way. The understudy of Mochizuki obviously gets kicked out of RED. Now he's got to become just kind of like Mochizuki trainee, Takashi Yoshida, and it's fucking awesome, and the crowd loves him as much as the crowd can love him in a clap crowd. Mochizuki taking this young understudy under his wing, even though I think he's like 39 years old or whatever the hell Yoshida is. But yeah, they're a fun team. And Mochizuki, another timeless wrestler, just absolutely rules. And I was so glad to see these guys beat BB Hulk and Kai, because I think those guys are fucking trash. So
Yeah. Their matches are never quite as bad as I expect them to be.
no, I always come away saying, oh, that was better than I expected, but I always going in thinking, fuck these guys. I really don't want to watch this match at all.
I always think long and hard about skipping. And then I go, it's a title match, I better watch. And then I'm like, but it's going to be terrible. And then it's like 2 3/4, and I'm like, it was fine. It's never quite as bad as I think it's going to be.
I'd say this one's probably a little bit better than that, but not by a ton. And they kept it pretty short, too. It only went 14 minutes, which I think was by design as well. Because some of those RED, BB Hulk and Kai matches will go like 22 minutes. You're like, dude, come on, let's go. Like, I get the shtick.
Yeah.
Let's go. But yeah, this is Yoshida doing all the hope spot to kind of get in the crowd behind him, and Mochizuki sort of, whenever he was needed, kind of being the veteran hand of the team. So yeah, really, really cool stuff here. Enjoyed this match a lot. So
that's an interesting Twin Gate champion, and they'll that story will run its course eventually, and they'll do whatever they're going to do with those two guys. But that's a fun thing to do for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we go to the main event, which you saw and I saw as well. Shun Skywalker defeating Kaito Ishida to retain his Open the Dream Gate championship. So I've talked about all the matches that I've seen so far. You saw this one as well. What did you think of Shun Skywalker versus Kaito Ishida?
I thought it was great. Shun just has a presence. But more than the match, which I thought it was a classic match structure, right? So the feeling out process early, and then Shun is selling the limb, and Ishida's going after it. And then they have the big transition spot. And then it's, will Red interfere or won't they? And they really didn't get involved, especially by their standards. And Shun did his big, dive to the outside, taking everybody out. And then they have the great closing stretch, right? So they weren't reinventing the wheel with the match structure here. Very basic match structure, good, solid, classic match structure. But what I found more interesting about this match is with Shun as the champion and all these young wrestlers emerging, we're starting to build the foundation of history among all of these wrestlers, right? Shun and Ben K, and the unfortunate way that last one ended. But now these two guys, and as Jay noted in the commentary, they hadn't faced each other in 2 years, right? Since like somebody's trial series. But here they are in a Dreamgate match. You know Ishida's not going to win. But this is one of those matches that's building a foundation and a history between the two for the future.
Right.
Whereas when the previous generation of Dragon Gate, when it was Shingo and Shima and Doi and Yamato and Yoshino, those guys have had so much history with each other, right? So it was just added layer upon added layer. Now we're building the foundation of the history with these new guys. And that's what I found fascinating about this match. I'm watching it thinking to myself, okay, in 3 years, these two guys might have a couple more matches with each other under their belt. They may have traded some wins or whatever they're going to do moving forward with these two. But I'm going to remember this match as the first big time match they had with each other. It's getting in on the ground floor of a whole new generation of Dragon Gate guys. And we know how good they are at building and layering history. So to me, that's why this was such an interesting match. The outcome was a foregone conclusion. They weren't going to do a title change here. So that wasn't the intrigue. The intrigue is how does the match go? How does it finish? What kind of finish do they do? And then moving forward, does this become a tentpole rivalry for the next generation of the company or not? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We already know that Shun and Ben K is. But will this one become one of those? Or, maybe not. We'll see. But I found that more interesting than getting wrapped up in a vacuum of the drama of that, because there really was none, because you knew Shun was going to win.
Yeah, and they had some fun hope spots here and there, and then Kaito Ishida, kick out of some big moves here and there. But yeah, you knew it was just only a matter of time until Shun was going to put him away. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and Jay did a great job on the English commentary here, which I listened to. Of just kind of putting it over here's where these guys' paths aligned a few years ago. Well, now they realign. When Shun Skywalker went away, Kaito Ishida kind of moved, stayed and rose up the ranks. And, Shun Skywalker was over in Mexico and trying to kind of figure himself out, even though they're not that far apart in where they were training. But, Ishida was a little bit farther along than he was. But now, Shun Skywalker's come back and now he's leaped past Kaito Ishida. He's the champion, all that sort of stuff. So Ishida's ready to prove that, no, I am still kind of the far more advanced wrestler than you are. So yeah, it's just really, really cool stuff there that they can always tell. And that's the great part about Dragon Gate. And it's, one of the criticisms that we always have about, WWE or a lot of American wrestling is that like nobody leaves and nobody goes anywhere and everyone's kind of in their, same spot, and nobody, everyone that's been in the company has been in the company for 15 years. And like Dragon Gate does that too. When you're in the company, you just never leave. You're always in that company for pretty much your entire career. But the difference is you can tell those stories if you actually care about telling those stories. If you actually care about hierarchy, if you actually care about the history, if you actually care about the background, and treat it with, with some sort of substance and really give a shit about who wins and how they win and all that sort of stuff. It's an asset to have the same roster for 15 years and not a negative like it is in WWE, where you get sick of the 9,000th Dolph Ziggler Kofi Kingston match because there's no real story to there. Whereas this is like Shun Skywalker and Kaito Ishida. We now know, okay, boom, we've planted our flag from 2 years ago when these guys kind of first started to now for the next 10 years. We have stories between these guys, and now you can look forward to what's going to happen with those two guys. So it's really cool how Dragon Gate can do that and really excel in it. But yeah, I'm right with you. That, to me, the intrigue of the match was we're watching, two guys that now are going to be the stars in this company for the next 10, 15 years and how they sort of interact with one another.
Yeah, they're building the foundation now of all these stories that are going to carry them moving forward for the next decade, which is very interesting. Whereas in the past, if someone was new to Dragon Gate, they're coming in the middle and the back end of all of these stories that have already been told for the last 10 years. Now, if you start getting into Dragon Gate, you're in on the ground floor of where they're building all of these stories. So, a pretty good time to come in. Hip Hop Kakuta. He looks just like Jordan Oliver in the face.
I know, yeah, he really does. It's unfortunate.
Similar gimmicks too. You know? So
well, sorta. Well, Kakuta's Hip Hop Kakuta because he has a large ass, apparently. So
I thought it meant he was into like,
no.
rap music.
No, I thought so too. It's because they think he has a big ass and he uses his big ass, but I don't think it's a very big. I mean, every time I see it, I'm like, I don't know. Is it like that? It's
then why? Okay, well then why isn't it big ass Kakuta?
There's some reason why, and I guess the Open the Voice Gate guys would probably be able to answer that better for you, but it's something about his hip hoppity ass or something. I don't know what it is. It's
no, I think they have
not. I'm telling you. Listen to Jay on the commentary. It's all about his ass.
Listen, I think Hip Hop Kakuta and Jordan Oliver have the same father. That's what I think.
It's very possible. They look very, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like we can create that urban legend. Just like a lot of people thought Terry Gordy was
Takeshi Morishima. Yeah. Takeshi. Yeah. Right? Which I really, I mean, the first time I heard that, I was like, that's ridiculous. And then every time from that point forward that I saw Takeshi Morishima, I'd look and go, I mean,
the love child of Terry Gordy and Margaret Cho.
He does look like Terry Gordy. It's undeniable.
Looks like both of them.
He kind of wrestles like him, and he's got the same body as him. And it was like, yeah, the first time I was like, that, come on, that's ridiculous. And then more and more, I was like,
So maybe we can start that. Maybe people will say that now and think it's true that Hip Hop Kakuta and Jordan Oliver have the same father. I don't think that's going to catch on.
I don't think so either. I'm trying to wonder how the time would work there, because I think
better than the timing of Terry Gordy.
Yes, certainly better than, because wasn't it Terry Gordy had to be like 17 or 16 or something like that?
Younger, he had to be like 12 or something.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, back in those days, though, yeah, you know.
I mean, I don't have any doubt that Terry Gordy was fucking when he was 12,
right?
But he wasn't in Japan.
He wasn't in Japan fucking. Yeah, he was fucking in wherever, I forget where Terry Gordy's from, but
Georgia, Alabama, something like that.
Somewhere where 14.
Doesn't it really matter?
Oh, he was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah, that dude was fucking when he was 12 for sure.
He was fucking when he was 12. He just has fucking when you're 12 energy.
Right. Yes.
You know? Like Terry Gordy, yeah, like he was a grizzled sex veteran by the time he was 17.
Yeah, it was boring to him by the time he was 17 or 18. It was just something he did, but had no real, like, he did it, but the pleasure was all the way gone by the time he was like 18, because he'd just done it for so many years at this point. So
he was having three-ways by then. He was deep in the game by the time.
Right, he's got all these amateurs. He's trying to bone these 18-year-olds, and they're all like, oh, and he's like, all right, come on, let's get this shit over with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he has fucking when you're 12 energy, but it just wasn't in Japan, so it wasn't possible.
Yeah, whereas I think Jordan, because Hip Hop Kakuta was either born in 2000 or 1999. There's a conflicting news.
Well, how old do you think Jordan Oliver is? He's like 20 years old.
I'm trying to figure out when Jordan Oliver was born too, just to kind of see how it all.
Yeah, he's like 20. He's about 20.
He's 30, Jordan Oliver. Do you know that?
No, he's not.
It says May 8th, 1990. I don't believe it either. Let me see if this is the same. No, this is two-time Cowboy national champion Jordan Oliver. It was not the same.
What's wrong with you? He's like 20 years old.
Yeah. Oh, there's MLW Jordan Oliver age is okay. Yeah, he's like 19. So
yeah.
He was born in 1999 as well. So
told you. They're twins.
I wish Jordan had a little bit of the weight that that our man Hip Hop Kakuta has.
Put on weight. Breakfast diet.
Yeah, but not the wrong kind of weight, though.
He's a heavyweight now.
Yes.
You clearly haven't been watching MLW.
I've watched some MLW, yes. And I know he's got a little bit of baby fat around his stomach, so now it's because he started eating breakfast that he's gained his weight. But
well, listen, sir. That's his game changer story, that he's the big breakfast guy. But in MLW, he is no longer a middleweight. He is a heavyweight now. And he challenged Jacob Fatu last week for the MLW heavyweight title. He's a full-on heavyweight now.
How is MLW right now? I know you've been reviewing it on the...
I was very close to hand-waving it, which tells you about how good it was.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
but the last 2 weeks have been solid.
Okay, all right.
I'm back in. They got me back in.
I do this weird thing where I don't watch it for like 5 months, and then like this weekend I'll watch like 9 episodes in a row type thing. So
yeah. The Filthy Island episode was one of the worst hours of wrestling. I mean,
like not even fun bad, just bad. Should I watch it?
To experience how bad it was, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it's just awful. I mean, there's a couple mildly amusing moments, like Zenshi jumping out of a tree to attack his opponent. But it was mostly just really bad. They went for something and it didn't land. It happens. And then they took a week off, and the last 2 weeks have been decent. They've been all right. The Jordan Oliver Fatu match might be my favorite Jordan Oliver. Now listen, low bars are easy to clear.
Right.
But this might be my favorite Jordan Oliver match of all time, the Fatu match. But it's been decent. ACH had a really good match with Kevin Koo this week.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. That has me, because I've always wanted to try to get into Kevin Koo, because I have, I feel like he should be solid or should be okay, and I never quite see it. So I'm curious to watch that one then. So
yeah, it's been okay. The booking is very solid A to B to C booking. It's MLW usually has scattershot booking. It's all over the place. Things start, but they don't end. It hasn't been that way. I think the pandemic taping schedule has really kept a lot of order. I think it's been good for them.
Yeah.
Because the booking has been very logical and solid. The problem is they're going to do the Lucha Underground stuff eventually. That's coming, and then I'm out. As soon as they do that, I'm out. They already introduced Mil Muertes, but they keep saying that there's a secret investor, and it's going to be Dario Cueto.
Yeah.
And then
people
once all that shit starts,
yes, someone's going to be dying and getting eaten alive and stuff, and then you're done. So
yeah, no interest. I'm out. But for now, it's been LA Park did a clean job for Hammerstone.
I saw that, and I don't know what Court does to that man to convince him to do that, but my God, that every Lucha promoter needs to have Court Bauer's number handy, because yeah, if that guy, because that's like, what's that, the third job that he's had Park do?
I don't know offhand, but
second or third. I mean, having Park do any clean jobs to anybody is not easy. So
clean in the middle, my friend.
Wow.
Clean
1, 2, 3. Shoulders on the ground. 1, 2, 3.
German suplex, back elbow knockout, and then Hammerstone goes to roll him over, and LA Park is just dead weight. He's selling the knockout, and then he took the pin.
Whoa! Wow.
So it was like a definitive win.
Because I could see the knockout, and then the ref kind of stops it, and then he could always say, "You didn't pin me." The ref stopped it, but he takes the knockout and the 1, 2, 3.
Takes the knockout, sells the knockout like he's knocked out, because he did the dead weight sell.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about, where you really have to pull the guy over. He's not helping you at all.
Oh, that might be a shoot too, but yes.
No, the idea was the elbow knocked him out.
No, for sure.
And then clean pin, and the rest of the skeletons were there, and they didn't jump in and break it up. No, just a clean, 1, 2, 3 in the middle. And he was gonna get hit with the Nightmare Pendulum earlier in the match, but his boys hopped up on the apron and distracted Hammerstone. So it's almost like he lost twice. I mean, it's just, I wasn't expecting that.
No, for sure not. So that's our mini MLW review here, but that's Dragongate. So it's a check in there. As I said, Voices of Wrestling podcast network for future Dragongate Open the Voice Gate. Also Dragongate reviews on voicesofwrestling.com. They have some shows coming up here over the next month or so as well. So we'll be touching out on some Dragongate now that things have kind of died down elsewhere in the wrestling world. And let's talk about Pro Wrestling Noah here, because they had a show last weekend, Great Voyage in Yokohama, and they have a show this weekend as well, Great Voyage 2021 in Fukuoka, which is coming up this Sunday. The English commentary available on Fight as well, so if you want to listen on English, you can do that. Our Twitter page has a giveaway right now for a free code, so if you can go to Twitter @Voices Wrestling, we'll give that away sometime Saturday as well, so still some time to go in there and get a free code, but we also have details too on how to order it through Fight with English commentary. But real quickly, I'll talk about this Yokohama show.
I'll take you through it since you saw it and I didn't.
So, okay, I will say I only saw the last 3 matches on this show.
Yeah, we'll just do the big stuff.
Okay.
We'll do the big stuff. Okay, so I saw none of this. Rich saw it. This is the Yokohama show, which is the setup for the Great Voyage coming up, the big show in Fukuoka this weekend, which we will obviously review next week. So Kano continues his march through the shooters. This time it was Kendo Kashin. He did successfully defend the national title. Thank God. Rich, how was it?
It was fine. It was Kendo Kashin being a shithead. Kendo Kashin taking the action to the outside. Kano having to sell submissions and sell near falls from Ken Okashin. I don't want any of that. I want Kano to bell the ring and him just to kick fucking Ken Okashin's head off and beat him. So, yeah, it went about 11 minutes. It was not too long. It was fine. It was inoffensive, but yeah, it's. I just don't want. I don't want to see Ken Okashin. I don't know why I need to see Ken Okashin. Why do I need?
Did he get challenged after Kosh?
Yeah, of course he did.
Oh, who is it? I have no idea.
It's Fujita. Yay.
So Fujita's up next. So that's got to be the final boss, right? There's no more shooters left.
God, I hope there's nobody more. No, it's got to be the final boss. I hope.
I can't think of any. He went through the rest of them.
Is there any other unsuccessful New Japan wrestlers from 2003 that he can face? Or,
He beat Funaki. He beat Murakami. He beat Kashin. He'll beat Fujita. Well,
who else from the dark ages of New Japan can we dig up to have him face? I don't know.
That's got to be the last one. Plus, Fujita's the one that's respected the most, right? Out of all these guys.
What's Kenzo Suzuki doing these days? We can call him up, right?
There's probably people who would be like, "Oh,
yeah, that'd be finally a good match, Noah."
Well, that's sick. That's gonna be sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking rules. It's like, because these
dope match, yeah.
Because when these assholes are outside of the ring, and I'm just looking at these guys, and I'm like, is this the plan? Is really all right? Let's take the period that nearly sent New Japan into like that nearly killed the company. Let's get as many of those guys as possible and put them in big spots in our show in 2020. It's just I don't get it. I guess it's a way to distract Kano for a little bit, but it's just like the believability of Kano at the top of his game having to sell for Kendo Kashin just sucks. You know what I mean?
I guess he beat Sakuraba already too.
Yeah, right.
So that's literally the last one. So this will be it.
Josh Barnett.
Now look,
you got Josh Barnett to come out next time. The War of the Peacemaster coming out. So.
I'd actually be into that.
That sounds actually. I've now convinced myself that would actually be awesome. So let's do that.
That one I would enjoy. Look, some of these have been pretty good. I mean, I haven't seen all of them.
No. I mean, in actuality, I hate them probably more than most people do, just because I hate those guys and I think they suck. But this is fine. Kano had better ones. I mean, definitely the other ones he had were a lot. This was probably on the low end of these Kano.
Well, Kendo Kashin fucking stinks.
Yeah, he was never good he wasn't good in 2001. He wasn't good in 2003, and he's still fucking terrible in 2021. So
yeah. Okay, so if he beats Ironhead, I think it's a decent story to kind of establish him as the shooter killer. Even if I'm not a big fan of some of the opponents or whatnot. But if he loses, that's bad, right?
Yeah, let's. I mean, dear God, let's hope that that doesn't happen. But
in the Noah hierarchy, like he really shouldn't win that match, right? I mean,
yeah, because Fujita is kind of moving down to face him for this title.
Yeah, this is a GHC heavyweight challenger level guy.
Right.
He's going down to the national title.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried. I can't lie. I'm a little worried that Fujita's going to beat him. But
I think that'd be a mistake. Now, if he beats Fujita, you could. All right, he beat all the shooters, and now you move on to whatever you're going to move on.
Exactly. Right.
And it's a good way to. It's kind of a feather in his cap. He beat all these. That's how I would book it if I'm going to book this thing. But I think there's a chance. I don't trust Noah's booking right now.
No, right now, yeah. There's no way to trust that it's not going to get in the hands of an old guy at some point. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what goes with there. But yeah, Kano still rules. So it was good enough.
All right. So Muto, Masato Tanaka, and Marufuji, CM's alliance, and they defeat Go Shiozaki, Keito Kiyomiya, and Yoshiki Inamura. Obviously, just a warm up here for Muto Kiyomiya. I take it. That was the story here?
Pretty much, yeah. So this was... so Masato Tanaka was awesome. Marufuji was fine, because Marufuji is just kind of a fine wrestler at this point. Masato Tanaka is incredible. So they have all these shitbag old guys that are in this fucking ring all the time. And then, like, Masato Tanaka's just out there, just kind of, he's just like another guy. And he's great. He's so much better than all these other guys. And it's just like, fucking Christ, whatever. All right, that's fine. Don't push him. Push, these other dudes. But anyway, so Masato Tanaka was really good. And this Go Shiozaki was good. Kiyomiya was good. Inamura was solid. The problem with Inamura, though, is he was most of the time linked up with Keiji Mutoh. And Mutoh, Joe, you need to watch this match before you watch Fukuoka. Mutoh is so bad.
Oh, he's awful.
And remember when people were telling us, oh, it's not embarrassing when he's in the ring. Did you see the gif of him trying to do his handspring back elbow?
Oh, yeah, complete embarrassment.
Just awful. And the announcers, I feel bad. They have to cover up, oh, Muto doing classic moves here. And it's like, and Inamura's got to sell that he just took this huge back elbow from Muto, who can barely move and can't do a flip, barely, hits his elbow and then falls down because he can't even sustain his own body weight. What the fuck are we doing here? Come on.
People make so many excuses for this guy. It's embarrassing.
Like I'm saying, in the ring here, he's in the ring with like Masato Tanaka, who's still as good as he was 20 years ago, Go Shiozaki, who's better than ever, Marufuji, who's slowed down but is still fine, Kiyomiya, who's really on the way up and doing really well, and Inamura, who I like a lot. And the problem though is Inamura, who's got a good look and has potential, is sitting here and he's got to sell for this guy. And it's just, I can't buy it. I can't buy that this giant dude Inamura, who looks like he could kill guys, is in here selling for some 60-year-old who can barely sustain his own weight on his knees. It's just, it's laughable. It's a joke.
I'm right with you. It seems to be an unpopular take for whatever reason, but I have no interest in watching this guy. I have no interest in watching people sell for him.
No, I like old. The idea is that we hate old wrestlers. I don't hate old wrestlers. I just told you how much I love Masato Tanaka. I hate old bad wrestlers because you can't. Like you said, you cannot let you can't let your mind say, Keiji Mutoh is beating up Inamura. You just can't. You cannot do that because it's like it doesn't make. There's in no universe would this man be able to beat up this man ever in any way, shape, or form. So it just it's embarrassing to watch these guys have to sell for Muto and he's turning odd colors. He can barely walk. It's like, what do we? Come on.
Well, we're going to preview the show, but I think there's a big chance he wins. I really think.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, he got the win. By the way, he got the pinfall over Inamura in this match as well. So. Yeah.
I wonder why he wasn't paired off with Kiyomiya. If that's his, I don't understand.
They
why
did a little bit here and there, but I guess they didn't want to give you too much. I mean, there was a little bit of interaction between these guys, but yeah, it was the main stuff that I remember was him versus Inamura, who was kind of taking all the brunt of the stuff. So,
all right, so the tag team title match. I am told that I have to watch.
Oh my god, go out of your way and watch this match. This is awesome. I almost don't want to spoil the finish for you because I know that you're gonna love the finish so much.
Then don't.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
I won't, but it's awesome.
And it's a good teaser for everyone else to go find it.
Yeah, if you have not watched this main event, go out of your way to watch it. 33 minutes. It flies by. One of my favorite finishes of the entire year as well. So Nakajima and Kitsumiya.
You know what? We won't even give the winner then. How about that?
That's fine.
I mean, I could see it, but we won't tell anybody. This way we give them a chance. Go enjoy the finish. How about that?
Yeah. So GHC title match, The Aggression, which is Nakajima and Kitamiya versus Sugiura Gun, Sakuraba and Sugiura, who are the champions. Main event. Great Voyage in Yokohama. It is available on Fight as well. So if you want English commentary, you can go to Fight TV as well. VoicesWrestling.com/fight as well. Make sure you use that link to check it out. Or, however way you want to go and watch this. I don't know if it's going to be on Wrestle Universe. I don't know if it's there yet. I've been watching most of my stuff on Fight because it's got the English commentary. But, you can find it. And I don't really want to spoil it because, it's pretty fucking great. So we'll talk about it next week. We'll tag it onto our Fukuoka discussion next week.
All right, let's preview this Fukuoka show. I'll blow through the undercard here, and then we'll talk about some of the top stuff. We've got Taniguchi, Hajime Ohara, and Yohei versus Inamura, Kinya Okada, and Yasutaka Yano, just your basic opener there. Akatoshi Saito versus Muhammad Yone in a battle of veterans. I don't know what the fuck's happening there or why they're doing that, but okay. Yoshinari Ogawa versus Junta Miyawaki. So Ogawa will stretch him for a few minutes. That should be a lot of fun. Kano, Heio, and Neo versus Ironhead Fujita, Kendo Kashin, and Nosawa Rangai. I'm sure that I guess, so Fujita and Kano are on opposite sides there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the deal there. And looks like Heio or Neo are going to take a fall to Fujita in that one.
What a hellacious threesome that is. Fujita, Kendo Kashin, and Nosawa. Gross.
Yeah. Yoshioka versus Katoge for the junior title. That should be fine.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Nakajima, Kitamiya, Manabu Soya, and Tarosuke versus Go Shiozaki, Marufuji, Takashi Sugiura, and Kotaro Suzuki. So they're cramming everybody else of relevance into that.
Yeah, I can't say that I love this card. I think what I saw in Fukuoka, it had a little bit more balance. I mean, this is a one-match show for sure, this Great Voyage 2021.
Yeah, then
maybe two. The junior titles is solid too.
Yeah, junior match should be good.
But it's all about this name.
You might get lucky with a couple of the Ogawa Miyawaki.
That's true. Ogawa never doesn't deliver.
It's just a little prelim match though, so. And then Muto defending against Kiyomiya. And I really think Muto might retain based on the fact that he signed a long-term contract. It's his first defense. He beat Kiyomiya the last time they faced each other, which you think would work in Kiyomiya's favor. But the way Noah is booked lately, I mean, who knows? And I think maybe they might save Muto losing the title for a different building. I have deep concerns that Muto is going to win.
I'm right with you. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that just kind of think it's a foregone conclusion that Kiyomiya does get the win, and this all Muto thing is all built up for Kiyomiya to beat him. And I mean, yeah, at some point probably, but what makes you what indication do you have that it's going to happen right now? That's always my question to people that are like, oh well, no, obviously he's going to beat Muto, and it's like, but if Muto's signed and he's not going anywhere, and you have him as a regular, like why now? Why what's he going to do after this then? You have Muto signed for a long-term deal, and he's going to win the title, and then a month later he's going to lose it. Now, what does he do the rest of the 2 years or whatever that he signed to your company?
Yeah, exactly. What else do you do with him?
Yeah, so once he loses this title, he's kind of just perpetually just a dude on the roster now, and they obviously see some value in having Keiji Mutoh. I mean, I would have maybe brought him in, but never have him win a title, or never have him in main events, or never have him in singles. We're too far past that. They've already done it. He's already won the title, but yeah, at this point now, it's like, well, fuck, if you got him, I don't know, I guess keep him in more main events. So I'm with you. I think Kiyomiya gets really close, and then Muto pulls it out and gets the win. They stretch this on a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm just way less interested in Noah than I was before he won the title. I thought they were doing really great things. I was super into the shows. I was making sure I watched them live. And as you can see, I didn't even watch the Yokohama show yet. Just haven't gotten to it. It's just Muto winning just sucked all of my interest out of it. So I hope he loses, and I'll watch it. Be rooting against them. Now look, the last time their last match was really good. I thought that these two guys had a really good match last time, but with Muto, it's like, for every 4 or 5 matches, if he can pull out an acceptable match, it's just not worth the trade-off of what you described in that 6-man tag and the performance that we had to endure versus Shiozaki, which I thought was terrible. And I thought people went way too easy on him. So it's just hard to muster up interest. I hope he loses, but I'm scared that he won't.
Yeah, I have the same unfortunate thought as well. So I will see, but we'll talk about that show. We'll touch on it next week. Great Voyage 2021 in Fukuoka. Again, English commentary available on Fight as well. And we do have a contest, as I said, at Voices Wrestling on Twitter. If you want to jump in and try to win a free code for that, all you have to do is retweet and then talk about the match you're most looking forward to. So
you know what it is with a guy like him? It's like, as long as he doesn't completely stink, people are like, oh, see, he's fine. He can still get his way through a match. He's okay. Look at the working standard around the world. He's not even close.
Yeah, we can't. We gotta aim higher than he can finish a match without his knees blowing. You know what I mean? Which he was not able to do in the last. We gotta. I mean, especially this company, which has established in 2020 an insane working standard at the top of the company. So yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, look at the champions across the world. I mean, this is it's laughable.
And then look at this fucking dinosaur who can barely move. And people give him credit because he can get through a match with his charisma, but it's very obvious that he can barely move around. I think people's standards are just so low when it comes to a guy like this. And it's like you look at the working standard around the world, and it's a joke. That's why I think it's embarrassing. I think it's bad enough that Suwama is a champion in 2021. And Suwama is like 1,000 times the wrestler that Muto is at this point. Like it's not even worthy of a comparison, Suwama and Muto. And I think Suwama, you're really pushing it. Having a guy like that as your champ. Let alone Muto. It's just, you can't. It's just, it's not a good look at all.
Yeah, and it's never really proven successful either to put your title on a really, really old guy. Everybody kind of thinks it is and says it is, but it really goes through history. It's really never been all that successful. And like we said too, it's like Muto, he's been around, he's been doing stuff, and it hasn't really attracted any sort of, eyeballs over the last 10 years. He's been doing shit in Wrestle One. He's been doing shit in his own produce stuff, and I'm a little dubious on how much Keiji Mutoh matters to the wrestling world in 2021, the Japanese wrestling world. In 2021, people will shout us down all they want, but I mean, I don't know. I have Wrestle One and Pro Wrestling Masters and any other number of Keiji Mutoh things to point to and say, well, why were all those so unsuccessful then? If he was, such a big commodity and such a big draw, and yeah, you will never sell me on this being a good idea in 2021 to have Keiji Mutoh be your champion. It's just I think it's embarrassing. And I think it makes everybody else look terrible. And I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully,
we'll see. Maybe crowds will come back and he has a title defense and a full Budokan or something. I mean, I can't see it, but then let's come on here and say we're wrong.
I mean, hey, I'll be glad to be proven wrong. But so far, I think I'm right. But we'll see.
I mean, when it comes to his physical performances, I mean, they're brutal. They're just brutal.
They ruin the believability. It's you always talk about
really
the Dory Funk Jr. Matt when he comes out there and he's 87 years old and it's just like this. I can't believe that this guy is in a simulated fight. I just can't. And that's how it is with Muto. I just cannot buy that this guy's beating up, Kaito Kiyomiya, this fucking 23-year-old kid. It's just like they gotta work down to his level. Exactly. Everyone's got to slow down. Everyone's got to it's embarrassing, and that's not with this company. I mean, this company I think did so much in 2020 to kind of get themselves back on track and start moving forward for the first time in a long time. And it feels like they took many steps back here. So. Super physical and nasty matches and just different than everything else that was out there. Nobody did pandemic wrestling better than Noah. AEW may be the only other one that I would say that really excelled at it. Atmosphere-wise. Yeah. Just making it, saying, hey, look, we were dealt a bad hand, but let's make the most of it. So instead of, we're just going to have matches where guys just kick the fucking shit out of each other for 30 minutes. And it was awesome. And it was great. And now we have this. So AEW was just lucky to be in Florida where nobody gave a fuck. Yeah, and to have their owner own a building that they could use. Right. So that was very advantageous to them for atmosphere reasons. But Noah overcame no crowds and clap crowds with the physicality. And it's just a shame that these guys have to work down the Muto's level. And again, every now and then he could channel it and have a match that's, that can be good. But it's too hard for him at this point. Yeah. All right, so that is Noah. We'll finish out here talking some WWE stuff. First off here, according to a report from F4WOnline.com, John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace, is returning to the position of head of talent relations for World Wrestling Entertainment. He'll be reporting to Executive Vice President of Operations, Brad Bloom. I don't know who Brad Bloom is, but he's the Executive Vice President of Operations, apparently. And he is starting the role immediately, and his title is General Manager of Talent. John Laurinaitis, back on top. Got Bruce Pritchard writing Raw. You got Johnny Ace picking out the next generation of wrestlers. This is just fantastic news. Yeah, what can go wrong? This is perfect. By the way, he held that job previously from 2004 to 2012, an era of just great success in terms of finding good, hot, new, young talent. The list goes on and on. It's Look, I don't know how to break this down. What's his job? What's he gonna do? I don't know what he's gonna do. Where's Canyon Seaman? Is he still around? I don't know where Canyon Seaman is. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Canyon Seaman or Mark Carrano was the other. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Mark Carrano. These are all the guys that fire you, and then you go to Vince and say, "What's up?" And he goes, "Oh, I couldn't do anything about it. Mark Carrano wanted you now." Right. That's who all these guys. What's unfortunate is you and I need to get better at it. Maybe I'll train pretty soon because Brandon Thurston on the WrestleNomics Radio has nailed the gravelly voice Vince McMahon. It's so good. He's really good at it, and we're all guilty of it. We do commentator Vince McMahon. God damn it, Vince McMahon, and that's not Vince McMahon anymore. He's got this. We do peak Mr. McMahon. Right. Where now he always sounds like he just woke up 4 seconds ago. Right. He's always got kind of like a lump in his throat. I can't do that one, but Brandon just nails it. He really does a great job. So we all have to get better at it, but I don't know how. It's going to be tough. So it's so good though. Yeah, WrestleNomics. Every week he busts one out at some point too. He's been doing a good one too that I always I never really noticed it until he did it. Is when Michael Cole says WWE, he's done a great job of the full WWE. Which Cole was probably forced to practice in a dungeon somewhere. WWE. Yeah, no lazy W's. The full WWE. Yeah, absolutely. Which is fantastic. Yeah. And Brandon's nailed that as well. So yeah, he's doing great work there on WrestleNomics Radio in terms of the content. He's doing all these good graphs and stuff, but really the star of the show is his Vince McMahon impression, the WWE thing too. So does Face Fuck Phillips and the other Ken Nall, Tom Phillips is for sure one a WWE. I don't know about Vic Joseph. Vic Joseph's got the tag down. I know that he's great at telling you when there's a tag. Oh, he loves sneaking in tag. No matter what's going on, tag. He never misses that one because I think they do electroshock if you don't do it. Like Vince has a little buzzer
right? And if you don't say tag, he gives you a little shock because he slips it in no matter what's going on around him. He slips in tag.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix will be in the middle of one of her long diatribes or whatever, and Vic Joseph just go tag, right? And then tag. He won't say anything else. He just says tag and then just stops and lets her kind of finish her diatribe, and then yeah. But I know Tom Phillips for sure is a WWE guy. I don't know. I think Vic does it too, but not to the extent.
You gotta do the full W's. The full W's. W. No real human does the full W except these guys. Everyone cheats on the W. W.
Yeah, I've never said W. W. I say W is how I pronounce it. W.
Yeah, W. WWE. No one says WWE, except those guys.
Except Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon, Michael Cole, and Tom Phillips. Yeah, right.
Yeah, with his raging boner on the airplane. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had a boner on an airplane.
Nah, he didn't have one either. He's just doing
shtick. You think? Yeah, he's not.
Oh yeah, he didn't really have a boner on that plane. Come on, he's just trying to talk. He's trying to be sexy. So he's telling her he's got a big boner for her while he's on the plane.
That's an old school. Yeah, people very very much get confused by the. But yeah, I'm sure you can look. I'm sure it's still a story out there. So.
Well, what's a big one in my house is the Seth Rollins. I always text TOB. I'm sure you can please me quite well because I showed her that and she was disgusted by it.
The least sexy thing that any human being has ever said to another human being. Yeah.
Dried up her vagina like a devil. Right. So, now when I'm being silly, Rich, I will text her that and we'll get a good laugh. So that's the one.
I'm glad you're dunking on Seth Rollins in your sex life. That's
constantly in my house. I'm dunking on Seth Rollins sexts constantly. I know you can please me quite well. Who would type that and then hit send? And this is when he was closing the deal.
He was he hit send and then lick his lips. Yeah, let's go.
Dude, the next text was the room number. That was his closer. That was his closing thing. I know you can please me quite well. What woman's gonna look at that and be like, "Oh, well, that's some hot talk."
Yeah, what a challenge! This man challenged me to this.
Yes, this is a naughty boy I'm going to see.
Oh, that was a great episode. Our Shibata, Seth Rollins, it's Tom Phillips sexting. That was a big thing. That was for whatever reason that week was just everybody was sexting like crazy that week. So
everyone was horny that week. Absolutely.
I don't know what happened that week, but
I don't really have a problem with face fuck Phillips. It's just funny that he got caught. That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
I've texted far worse. I'll be completely honest here. I don't think anyone would be surprised by that. But he was just being a horny boy trying to score with the lady. Yeah. The problem with face fuck Phillips is he was engaged and getting married a month later.
That is indeed the problem. Yes. That was the problem. While you're about to get married, you're talking to another girl about how you're boner on a plane ride and how you yeah. So that's where you run into some issues there. So
yeah, and then the girl found out and ratted him out. So you know what happens. Did he end up marrying that girl or what?
I have no idea. I don't know the current marital status of one Tom Phillips. So
yeah,
don't really.
I don't know.
So Johnny
maybe
Ace.
Maybe she knows he's a big time celebrity and he has a pass. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if you're gonna marry someone like Tom Phillips, you got to understand Tom Phillips can't be contained. You kind of have to understand that boys will be boys on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. The
Tom
agreement,
Phillips,
that agreement that pro athletes and their wives have of hey, look.
Yeah. It's Tom Phillips. He's like, listen, I call 205 Live, okay, Toots? Right. You can't, if you're going to get into a marriage with
WWE commentator.
That's right. You have to understand that there's going to be some rules here that are,
I did NXT UK.
Exactly. I, from what I am told, am next in line for Michael Cole's job. And I don't know if you know what that means, but it means I get the fuck on the road, okay? And you kind of have to just go with it. That's the price you pay for being the hand-selected wife of a Tom Phillips.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair, to be honest. I'm sure you had some parameters you laid out for the nurse. You're like, listen, I'm Rich Craig.
I do the Voice of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. So that's...
Absolutely. So there's some things that you have to understand before you accept this ring.
Yes. And what I said is 3 hours every single week I have to talk to this dope about Japanese wrestling. So that's it. That's the only parameter. But it was a parameter nonetheless.
And these rules are unbendable. Okay? So I see where Facefuck Phillips is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he wasn't in the wrong. But, so Johnny Ace is taking over talent relations.
Yeah, so I if I'm a woman in the company, I'd be a little worried here because old John was I don't know, what would he use these days? Because he used to use Maxim, right? He would go through the issues of Maxim and FHM. Remember when FHM was the thing?
That's a shoot. Rich isn't making.
No, I'm not joking. He would literally go through Maxim and say, "Oh, she's pretty hot. I can't do a Johnny Ace impression," and call that woman and say and have her become a wrestler. That's how he found numerous women through this era. That
I try to do Johnny Ace and it ends up sounding like Terry Funk.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not even going to do it. Yeah, I can't do the Johnny Ace. But
to be fair to Johnny Ace, he was instructed to find the female talent that way.
Right,
so.
Which is not a bad job of, all right, yeah, I'll go, I'll watch these softcore porn magazines and go through these. And they're tasteful bikini photos and tasteful lingerie photos, of course, and all these. And
the Maxim hometown hotties. Remember that one, Rich?
Yes.
They have the hometown hotties, and they would send in the amateurs would send in their photos
as advertised. There were certainly some hometown hotties all the time in those magazines. So
yeah, the hometown hotties. Yeah, those are big. Is Maxim? Does it exist? Like
I have
online
no idea. Yeah, I have no idea if Maxim or like I mentioned FHM. Like I don't know if any of those are around anymore.
Do you remember when WWE Magazine tried to switch to that style for a little while?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that didn't last.
it didn't work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's Johnny Ace. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what they're doing, but hey, I'm glad that the same people that have been in charge forever are once again in charge again at that company. So
it must exist because didn't the interview girl from ROH try to be a Maxim hometown hottie not too long ago?
Oh, McKay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Quinn McKay. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, I guess.
It must exist. I think she did. And then something made her, like she was winning her vote, and she's kind of awoke, I think, and Maxim did something she didn't like, and then she pulled out.
Okay.
I think that's what happened. It was either Maxim or maybe it wasn't. I think it was Maxim, though. Yeah. And because, she has a lot of fans already, I know she was cleaning up, but then, like, something happened, I don't know, and she's like, I don't want this anymore because I don't know, whatever fucking reason. I don't want to get myself in trouble. Like I don't know the reason, but I don't want to. Yeah, you know how people are. But I think that was Maxim though, so I think it must still exist. I don't know.
Good, I'm glad. It's a fun magazine in my early days, so I enjoyed Maxim in my teens. So glad.
Oh, you were right in the prime those team years.
Yeah. That's when like the magazine rack there was like 7 of them. There was Maxim, as I said, FHM. What was the other one? There was a few that were just like like hot celebrities and then hot women just wearing bikinis and covering their breasts while they weren't wearing bikinis. It was good times.
Total smut. I can see you volunteering to go grocery shopping with your mom.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
First, you look at the Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Of course, yeah. I'm definitely going to flip through PWI first, of course.
Right, and look at the rankings for that month.
right.
And then go right to that rankings page.
Yeah, I'm not going right to the women. Women will come and go, but the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, rankings, those are timeless.
Yeah. You want to see who the pinup is that month in the PWI before you look at the pinup in the Max.
Right. Yeah. Eva Longoria, I'll see her eventually, but like, let's see where I got to see where.
Like, a Crash Holly poster this month.
Right.
It's a good shot of
Jessica Alba's a nice looking woman, but Crash Holly, we're in top 10. Yeah. That's pretty important. So I gotta check that out. So
Simon Diamond. Oh, all right.
Remember WOW magazine? I was a big fan of WOW magazine too.
Yeah.
See, now what WOW magazine did was try to be PWI, but then also just put a bunch of Francine bikini photos throughout it as well. So that 13-year-old me that was best of both worlds then.
And also halfway not kayfabe.
Yes, yeah. Because at that time I was kind of like I was early Smark.
Yeah,
I was on chat room, so I knew like I know how it's really done here. So when they were like, they're like, well, Sabu doesn't want to do the job, and I'm like, ooh, like how salacious. Like,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's how WOW magazine, and then the ECW magazine was the same publisher, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wasn't Bill Apter involved with WOW?
I believe he was. Yeah, I believe he was the editor of WOW magazine. So
I remember his big editorial when he joined. He's like, "The world is changing, and we can't kayfabe forever." And I was like, "Man, the world has changed. If Bill Apter's not kayfabing anymore, I don't know if I like this world we're in." But I don't think he lasted long with WOW.
No, the WOW didn't last very long either. So
yeah,
that's
very
right.
glossy.
It was
magazine.
Very glossy. Yeah, it was good. It was big too. It was like a big magazine for some reason.
Oversized. Yeah, which I didn't like because then if you stack it with other magazines, it's just
it ruined the whole thing. Yeah,
don't like that. Just why you got to try to be different? Just use the standard magazine.
Yeah, just make a fucking magazine. All right, come on, don't get cute here.
Come on now.
All right, so we have a few more minutes here. WrestleMania tickets are on sale. WWE announced that a limited number of tickets to its 2-night pop culture extravaganza WrestleMania presented by Snickers will go on sale next Tuesday, March 16th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. So
yeah, they're going to try to pack that bitch 2 nights in a row.
They are. They definitely are. Yeah, I think right now the rumor is that they're trying to get 35,000. I am guessing that as we get closer and as more and more arenas are starting to say, let's maybe try it, and it being Florida, there's a good chance that Vince is going to say, can I get the whole place? And at some point Raymond James is probably going to say, sure, why not, let's try. So ticket prices range from $35 to $2,500. So
yeah, but you get to take the chair home, so
yeah, that's true. So it's well worth $3,000
yeah.
To
have your chair with Bobby Lashley's face on the they'll sit in your garage until you put it on eBay and get back, a quarter of what you spent on the ticket. So
2 matches announced for WrestleMania so far: Roman Reigns and Edge, and Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And per some reports, we are nowhere closer to having the rest of that card ready to go anytime soon, even though it's, I believe, in 28 days. So,
well, I got plenty of time to figure it out. That gives them 3 Raws?
3 Raws, right. Yeah, 3 Raws until WrestleMania. So, so Joe, as I said, WWE has tickets to its 2-night pop culture extravaganza WrestleMania presented by Snickers. Well, hopefully you're ready for some more WWE wrestling, because they have a 2-night event titled Stand and Deliver, NXT Stand and Deliver. Night 1 scheduled for April 7th, airing on the USA Network, and Night 2 streaming exclusively on Peacock April 8th. So I don't know who the hell's naming these NXT takeovers anymore, but Stand and Deliver.
Edward James Olmos, apparently.
Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips named this.
What are we doing here? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
They must have heard. Confirmed flagship listeners.
Oh, they all are. I don't know how they think they're going to... Listen, did you see NXT this week? Loaded show. The same old .18 they always do. I know.
It's over.
I mean, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, nothing. How are they going to put 2 shows together? They're not selling tickets for this one, are they? Is this going to be?
As far as I know right now, no. I believe this will take place in the Capitol Wrestling Center or whatever the fuck. Yeah,
that'll feel special.
Yeah, 2-night event
from the Capitol Wrestling Center. Yeah, NXT just feels so cold. It's ice cold. I don't know how you're going to get 2 super cards out of that show. I really don't.
Yeah, the content overload coming up WrestleMania weekend from WWE is absolutely insane. So you got Stand and Deliver, you got WrestleMania's 2 nights. You have 2 nights of NXT, 2 nights of WrestleMania. You have the Hall of Fame, which is going to have 2020 and 2021's class, Raw, SmackDown. It's just fucking ridiculous. I cannot believe that. But we're in the content business, so content is content. So enjoy the content.
Molly Holly.
Oh, I can't wait to hear you had this discussion, I believe, offline in our Slack, and you asked, is she the worst WWE Hall of Famer ever?
I said she's probably bottom 5.
She's definitely, yeah. So I came up with a few names as you were discussing. Ivory to me is probably the worst. No, I think Baron Mikel Cicluna or Johnny Rodz. Johnny Rodz, probably, yeah, that's true.
Baron Mikel Cicluna, at least at one time, he was like a tag team champion before he became a jobber. Johnny Rodz was just a straight up jobber the whole time. Jacqueline is a terrible Hall of Famer.
Jacqueline's terrible. Yeah, so that might be our bottom 5 right there if we go over that. Yeah.
James Dudley, the limo driver, who was an on-screen manager. Like, even the most ardent of historians don't even really remember James Dudley being an on-camera. That's how infrequently he was a character. He was really just Vince's limo driver. So I don't even know if you want to count him. But yeah, Jacqueline, Ivory, Rods, Cicluna, and Molly Holly. They're probably the 5 worst, right? If it had any standards like a real Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And I don't ever want to get into an actual WWE Hall of Fame discussion, but yeah, there's Molly Holly is there because she
was just a prelim wrestler for like 3 years.
Right. There's no case whatsoever.
And had no career outside of WWE to add to it. I mean,
wow. Really underrating the Miss Madness era, Mona.
That is correct. I am
Mona of Miss Madness. Of Randy Savage's short-lived unit with Gorgeous George and Medusa. So
that's why I would put Coco Beware above all of those 5. I mean, he had a career outside of WWF, and was an excellent wrestler at least. Molly Holly was a good wrestler, but I mean, if you apply any standards whatsoever.
Right. And the problem is anytime they make an announcement for this Hall of Fame, then you get the quote tweets of, oh, what a great, yeah, she absolutely deserves it. A very deserving Hall of Fame. Yeah. It's like, shut up. No, she isn't. I'm sure she's nice. I've heard she's very nice. She's not a deserving Hall of Famer in any Hall of Fame.
No.
So it's okay. It's okay to say, cool, that's really cool for Molly Holly. Great. You can end it there. You don't have to say, oh, a very deserving Hall of Famer, underrated. It's like, no, she wasn't.
Jacqueline got the same treatment.
I know, yeah. Oh, really, people don't understand how important Jacqueline was to... No, she wasn't.
No, none of these people were important. None of the people we named were important at all in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You can erase any of those people from existence and nothing would change. Like, nothing at all. Ivory? Are you kidding me? Is she really in Ivory?
Yeah. I think at one point they're just going to literally have every woman that's ever wrestled in the company.
Who was the one that was Kane's girlfriend in storyline?
That's Tori. That was Tori. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tori is not in yet.
She's on the same level as these geeks.
She's not far away. You're right. She's not. She has the added thing that she was a Glow wrestler for a little bit, I think, as well.
No, Ivory was.
Well, no, I think Tori was too.
Tori was too. Yeah.
She was.
Ivory definitely was. I forgot about Ivory.
No, sorry. Tori was in the LPWA, the Ladies Professional Wrestling Association.
Yes, she was. Terry Power.
That was her name, Terry Power,
yeah. I think they tried to build it around her, too.
They did, yeah. Then she wrestled for a year, took time off, and then they hired her 7 years later to join the World Wrestling Federation. So.
Right. I mean, she has as much of a case as any of these other geeks. Yeah. I mean, especially like Ivory or Molly Holly. I mean, Jacqueline, I guess she was in some of the territories, Memphis, Texas.
WCW run for a bit.
We were really stretching it with
she was in. We're basically saying this person wrestled in these companies at some point, and that is the So it's fine to just say, hey, cool, whatever, great honor, but yeah, we don't have to pretend that these people are actually Hall of Famers. It's okay. So.
I mean, look, for that Hall of Fame, it really doesn't matter. Who cares? But if you just want to have fun with it and apply any kind of standards, none of these people would be anywhere near any Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just, but you're right. It's so, you do have to go through that, 24 hours where people act like it means more than it does. And it's like, we have to celebrate the great career of Ivory. I mean, there was
right. The best is I forget what the article was, and I don't want to single anybody out, but there was an article that was like, oh, Molly Holly, very deserving. They listed her accomplishments, and it was like a paragraph. It was just like, she debuted, and then she wrestled, and then she retired, and then she did stuff with the Hurricane. All right. Like, it was just, they were just listing what her story. It was like, Molly Holly debuted in WCW as Miss Madness, and well, then she left, and then she went to WWF, and then she was Crash Holly Bob Holly's sister, and then she wrestled as the Hurricanes manager, and then she retired. It's like, okay, you're just saying things that she did. Like,
yeah.
Those are just, yes, you're right. She did do those things because she was in the company. But yeah, they confuse accomplishments for, you know.
It's a resume.
Right, exactly. Right. Those aren't accomplishments. So.
Yeah. I mean, she literally may have never had a single main event in her life.
Wow. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, especially women of that era. No way.
I think Jacqueline probably did outside of WWE. Ivory probably did in Glow. I don't think Molly Holly she probably never had a main event.
No,
in her
I think
life.
I don't think she ever did. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Well, great. WWE Hall of Fame. So get into it.
Two-night
event. Or no, it's just a one-night event, but they're doing 2 Hall of Fame classes because last year's Hall of Fame class got there.
Oh, okay. What's the last Hall of Fame maybe do you watch them? I haven't watched one.
No.
Since.
Good God, no.
Yeah, I haven't watched one since like 2005 or something.
I remember.
Who can sit there and watch that?
Yeah, dude, I don't think I watched. Yeah, I think the last one I saw was Bret Hart in Chicago. Was like the last one I actually watched.
Yeah.
And that's only just because I wanted to go. I didn't end up going, but I wanted to go to that night just because I was like, oh, Bret Hart Hall of Fame, yada yada. But that's literally it. And the best. So last year, you know, I'm at the Barclays Center for Takeover, or 2 years ago at WrestleMania weekend. I'm at the Barclays Center, and me and the guy I was with, Sean Flynn, who people on the site will know or whatever. We were just laughing and we're just thinking, like, can you imagine with all the wrestling events going on in this entire weekend? Imagine coming here tomorrow to watch the fucking WWE Hall of Fame. And there were guys sitting like right in our same row. They were really annoying or whatever. Those guys get up before Gargano and Cole and go, yeah, we're gonna leave because we gotta be back here tomorrow for the Hall of Fame. God damn, are you kidding? 5 minutes away from here, 10 minutes away. I don't know my New York geography that much. You're gonna have Kazuchika Okada win the IWGP Heavyweight title.
Yeah,
you're gonna have Tetsuya Naito and Kota Ibushi wrestle in a 30-minute match of the year contender, and you're gonna sit here and go, "You deserve it." Like DX, like Jesus Christ, like what
to Ivory,
right? Well, what are you doing?
You're gonna celebrate the career of Ivory.
Right.
Oh God!
It's like, man, they're probably wearing their like suit because the whole time we were laughing, like while we're like, imagine like, you know, sitting in your hotel room and getting like your suit ready because like, you know, you're supposed to kind of dress up. You're not supposed to just show up in your wrestling shirt. So some guy's like, oh, as he's packing for WrestleMania weekend, he puts in like, you know, a nice shirt so he can go.
I gotta pack a cummerbund so I can go watch Jacqueline get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Imagine that.
Oh my God, yeah. So we were laughing the entire time, and these dorks that were like, these fucking assholes, these guys suck. Leave before the main event, before Gargano and Cole, because they have to be back here tomorrow and they're tired. So it's like, okay.
Unbelievable.
Hit the bricks, guys. So yeah, it was great. So all right, that is our show, WrestleMania weekend. So we didn't get a chance to bury the indie shows on WrestleMania weekend.
There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time to do that. We have a whole month to go, and we will, I think, do our WrestleMania weekend previews again. Last year I said I wasn't going to do it, but I think I'm back into doing them this year because they're going to be pretty fun. I was depressed about WrestleMania weekend last year, but now I've just accepted it's utter shit. So now I think it'll be even better to bury these.
Plenty of time to have every indie promoter in the country turn on us.
And use us to sell tickets. Yeah, and use us to sell tickets, which is
sick their followers on us and everything else. Yeah, plenty of time for that.
Anyway. Yeah. Oh, that's it for us. So upstart.com/VOW. We mentioned that our sponsor for this week's show, upstart.com/VOW. Take a 5-minute survey, a 5-minute credit report there to find out if you can get a loan. Upstart.com/VOW. Patreon.com/Voice of Wrestling. We previewed the Fired Up with the Nurse. We also have a new deep dive, Joshi and the WWF, getting really good reviews so far. So we have that up on Patreon.com/Voice of Wrestling, $5 tier as well. So plenty of stuff to do here. VoiceOfWrestling.com, @Voice of Wrestling on Twitter. voicewrestling.com/Discord. Plenty of ways to interact with us. But anyway, that is it for us. So for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Craich. We'll see you next time.